I've used cold emails to generate over $1 million and booked over 1,000 meetings. It's also allowed me to quit my 9 to 5, drop out of college, and give me time, location, and financial freedom. In this masterclass, I'm going to give you a free cold email course that covers everything I know to help you book calls, sign clients, and make more money. And make sure you stick around till the end of the video because I'll even give away our best performing cold email scripts, deliverability checklist so that you don't land in spam, and so much more. Let's dive right into the course. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this full-on cold email masterclass guide where you're gonna go from this picture on the left to this picture on the right with tons and tons of booked calls. My goal here is that you leave today with all of the tools and knowledge accessible to book as many meetings as you want with cold email, right? So here's what we're going to cover in this video, where we're going to first go over why even choose cold email in the first place over other platforms, the technical setup of cold email, how to identify your ideal customers and build a list of them, how to write scripts that print meetings, how to not land in spam, and then finally some bonus plug and play AI workflows and scripts that I'm going to give away in this video. So why should you listen to me? Who am I to tell you all this? My name is Aryan Ariel, and me and my company Gamic Media send almost 100,000 cold emails every single month. We've worked with many different types of offers and industries that range from video production, SaaS, insurance, PR, Google Ads, SEO, Meta Ads, and so much more, right? Here's some of the results that we've gotten for some of our clients with cold email. For example, we helped Deepak from Deep Social Brands at $270,000 in revenue in 8 months. We helped Renee from First Rank Digital book 75 meetings, closed over 13 deals. We've also helped Matthews from Magnuson Film book 25 meetings, closed multiple deals, 3 deals. Harris Shorepoint Productions booked 15 meetings, closed multiple deals. Art Node booked 20 meetings, closed multiple deals. And then Cash and Marketing booked 30 meetings and closed multiple deals. So as you can tell, we know what we're talking about when we we speak about cold email. There's some other screenshots we have of people closing deals. I'll let you pause and read through all this if you want to, right? So, oops, didn't mean to click that. Without further ado, right, why choose cold email in the first place? So you see, when you're an agency or any type of B2B businesses, there's only 3 ways for you to acquire new clients or new customers. It's either going to be through content, paid ads, or cold outreach. But there's 2 big constraints that come when up when it's anything not cold email or cold outreach related. You see, content takes a lot of time to ramp up and acquire new clients. It's rarely good once it starts snowballing and compounding like crazy, but when you're first starting out, you're gonna have to make tons and tons of videos or post tons and tons of posts just to actually get the compound effect of getting new clients and booking new calls. Paid ads, it works super well, but it is very expensive to keep running, right? Cold outreach, on the other hand, at least with cold email, it doesn't take too long to get started. It really only takes about 2 weeks to warm up, and it doesn't break the bank. There's an estimated 4.5 billion email users every single day. 4.5 billion. So just imagine just capturing just 0.001% of those users. You are simply leaving money on the table if you don't try to get at least 1% of that pie, right? So you might be like, okay, well, Aryan, I've tried cold email before and it didn't work, right? I've spoke to tons and literally over hundreds of business owners and beginners regarding outbound, and one common factor that kept coming up is like, Aryan, I've tried cold email before and it just never worked out for me, right? I literally heard this over and over and over again, but then when I dug deeper and asked them, like, what actually happened, I found out that it was actually one of 2 things. 1, they either sent less than 1,000 outbound messages, and 2, they stopped testing different value propositions and angles. So let's start with the first one, right? Usually when people say outbound didn't work for them, and I'm like, okay, what happened last time when you tried it, right? And most of the time, they tell me they did it in-house, but they weren't able to book any type of call, right? I then asked them, okay, how many emails did you even send out when you tried cold email or cold outbound, whatever? And they say something along the lines of this. They're like, oh yeah, we tried 87 emails over the span of 3 months, right? And I look at them and I'm like, really? 87 emails over the span of 3 months? That's not going to do anything for you, right? You have to realize that unless you're literally giving away free work, sending such a small batch of outbound messages will not book you meetings. This is cold traffic that you're selling to. Like these are literal strangers you're selling to, right? They have no idea who the fuck you are. So why should they trust you? The key to solving this is to increase the amount of emails that you send out. So think about it. If you're going door to door selling your services and every single person said no that you knocked on, eventually after hours and hours, you will find someone who's interested in what you have to sell, right? Alex Hormozi says volume negates luck. So before you write off that like cold email doesn't work for you or that it just doesn't, it just doesn't work as a means to get new clients, you must simply send more cold emails. And here it is right here, right? Volume, success. Volume negates luck. Send more cold emails. So another common thing I hear is that people are like, oh yeah, we hired someone to run outbound and it didn't really work, right? The second reason why people say this was they hired an agency or they hired like some other outside person to run it for them and it didn't really work out, right? Either the meetings they booked them were unqualified or they just simply just didn't book any meetings at all, right? Now, this is not entirely the person's fault. The vendor that they used is actually at fault because they stopped testing new angles and new value propositions, right? You see, as long as you're any type of B2B business, so agency, SaaS, or any type of B2B business, you have case studies and you have a service or a product that either saves people time, money, or makes them money, cold email will absolutely work for you. And most of you watching this, most of you agency owners, most of you SaaS founders, whatever it may be, that's literally you. You have a service or offer that literally saves people time, makes them money, or saves them money. That's literally you, right? So this does not mean, though, that you'll immediately get interested replies and book meetings on the first day of launching any type of campaign, right? You must test different offers targeting different industries and test different value propositions to find one that works. It might take you literal months, like it might take you literally months of trial and error, but I promise you, I guarantee you, in fact, that if you don't give up, you'll eventually find an angle that works and an angle that you can scale. So with that out the way, that's the reason why we choose cold email. We're not going to get into the second step, right, which is the technical setup of all this. How do you buy domains? How do you set up email accounts? And how do you put them in a sending tool? So there's many different tools that you can use to run outbound, but here's what we recommend and what we use at our agency to get started. For the actual domains itself, we use Porkbun. You can use GoDaddy, you can use Namecheap, but Porkbun for us has always been the GOAT. For email accounts, we use premium inboxes and scaled mail. And for sending, we use SmartLead, right? So first, you must buy the domains. And with the domains, you will not be sending your main domain. Instead, you will be using dummy domains to send the domains from. So for example, if my domain is google.com, right? I'm going to buy domains like getgoogle.com or marketinggoogle.com or trygoogle.com, etc., etc. The reason for this is that you actually end up burning your main domain if you use it for outbound. This means like if you use your main website, and it ends up getting burned because you're sending cold emails from there. This means that your main website could rank lower and it'll be marked as dangerous or fishy or spam to viewers, right? And we obviously don't want that because if someone clicks on your website and they see that it's dangerous, they're immediately not going to trust you. So that's the reason why you buy dummy domains. You buy dummy domains, and one thing to know here is that even though we have dummy domains and we're going to use dummy domains, we will forward those dummy domains into our main website. Do you get what I mean? So for example, if somebody visits getgoogle.com, this should be forwarded to google.com. So you're just going to, in this first step, you're going to buy dummy domains. So here's some prefixes that you can use for your domains, right? So again, if I am Google, if my domain is Google, I can use appgoogle.com, nowgoogle.com, labsgoogle.com, meetgoogle.com, scaleGoogle.com, etc., etc., etc. You get my point. You can use any of those prefixes above, plus your company name to buy the domains on Porkbun. And here's some simple guidelines when it comes to buying domains, right? You only want to use .com domains. Do not use .xyz or .co. And do your best to only use letters, no special characters. Don't use like hashtags or dollar signs or whatever. And use one of the prefixes and suffixes to create a dummy domain. One important note is I actually made this guide a while back, but .co, and I'm going to go back and I'll delete this part of the guide, but .co is actually good. We tested .co and we thought .co wouldn't work, but .co works out pretty good. So disregard that. You can use .com and .co. Just don't use anything like .xyz or like just whatever the fuck, like just stick to .com, .co, it'll do you well. So we recommend you start at 20 domains 20 dummy domains, and for those domains, you're going to set up 2 email accounts per domain, which is about 40 email accounts total. So 20 dummy domains, 40 email accounts, 2 email accounts per domain. Now, when it comes to Google versus Microsoft in 2025, right, I recommend you have both Google and Microsoft. Currently, right now, Google is better in terms of sending. Like, if you have Google, like, you should be able to book calls completely fine. Microsoft is a bit harder to inbox to, but you never know when one platform will overtake the other, so it's good just to have one as backup, right? However, if you can only afford one, again, I highly recommend keeping it simple and just going with Google. If you only have one type of platform, just stick to Google, right? The only exception to this rule is if your ideal customers are enterprise companies, or if you know they use Outlook, then just pick Microsoft, right? So for example, if you're targeting high-end medical companies, Fortune 500 companies, anything like enterprise related at all, more than likely they'll be on Microsoft, so adjust accordingly and pick Microsoft. But if you only have one, if you only have the budget for one, pick Google. If you want to run both, I suggest doing like a 70-30 split. So let's say you have let's say you have like 40 email accounts. 70% of those 40 email accounts should be Google, so like a majority of them, and then 30% should be Microsoft, right? That's what I recommend. Now, let's get started with the actual Gmail account setup. For Google, we're going to use premiuminboxes.com. They did not sponsor me to say this. We just use them at our agency, and it works out super fucking well, so highly recommend them. Again, not sponsored at all. It's just that good of a product. You're going to go to premiuminboxes.com. You can click on Get Started and purchase the email accounts. Again, I recommend you use 2 email accounts per domain. So with that math, go ahead and buy 40. So it'll be here, just buy 40, right? Now, once you buy those 40 email accounts, it's going to then take you to this screen right here, and you're just going to fill out the boxes with your information, right? So for example, you're going to click on, okay, where do you want to forward this to? For this example, I use Nike.com, and I'm forwarding it to Nike.com. Then it's going to ask you, okay, where did you buy these domains from? And then you're going to put pork bun. Then it's going to be like, okay, well, did you disable 2FA so that we can log on and upload these domains into, or create, upload these domains into SmartLead and create Google accounts from them? And you're going to click yes, and you're going to click on this right here, which is like the pork bun access tutorial. Just go through that. And then you're going to give it the pork bun logon. Then on the domain section, you'll have to input all of the dummy domains you bought and separate them with a comma. Again, try Nike.com, comma, hire Nike.com, comma, acquire Nike.com, comma. You get my point. Just do that for all those dummy domains you have. Then once you have that done, input the number of inboxes you bought. So we bought 40, and then put number of inboxes to 2, right? Then what you're going to do is for the persona, you can either pick your name right here, or just a fake person, but just make sure the actual email variants match the actual name. So what I mean is, if you're gonna put, let's say I put Arian Ariel, you have to make sure that the email prefix variants match Arian Ariel, because if it doesn't, on Google, it'll be like, okay, sent from Sam Smith, but then the email account's Arian Ariel. It doesn't really make sense, right? So make sure those two match. And then for the email persona, just imagine these two are 2 separate email accounts. So let's say I bought Arian at trynike.com. It would be Arian at trynike.com, Arian Ariel at trynike.com. Hopefully that makes more sense. Just have to follow this guide. Super simple, right? And then check out the picture above. Yeah, so you can check out the picture here from above. And then what you want to do is leave this blank. You don't need like a master inbox. Oh, also, I forgot to mention this in here. If you have, you want to upload your email account picture into this link right here. So what you can do is you can just take a picture yourself, or you can go to like this person does not exist. And what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to pretty much save a fake picture. You can upload it to a website like imgur.com, and then just put it down there. So make sure you have this, because this will actually help you boost your reply rates, because again, you have to think like if someone's getting a cold email from a stranger, which one are they more likely to reply to? The guy that has no profile picture or the guy that has profile picture? More than likely the guy that has profile picture. So make sure you have a profile picture. Once you've done all that, after about 6 to 12 hours, the email account should be uploaded to SmartLead, and just like that, you're good to go. Again, 10 out of 10, highly recommend Premium Inboxes. I'm not sponsored to say this. They just provide a fantastic service, and literally under 12 hours, the email accounts are uploaded. So 10 out of 10. Now, when it comes to Outlook, you want to use scaledmail.com. Again, we are not sponsored. They just provide a great service. If you're running both Google and Outlook, I recommend you use Premium Inboxes for Google and the $120 a month plan for scaled mail. So for example, if you're running Google and Outlook, I recommend you use premium inboxes and then do the 120 a month plan, which is like right here. It literally only requires 2 domains, pretty simple. If you're only running Microsoft, then I recommend you get the $199 a month plan for scaled mail, in which case you only need to buy 4 domains, not 40. So if you've already bought it, I'm sorry, but you don't need to buy that many domains. Unfortunately, I can't show you the full onboarding process for scaled mail, but literally it's pretty much the same as premium inboxes. Set up your email accounts, upload a profile picture, name, all that good stuff, and it should be good to go. So pretty simple. Give them access to your pork bun as well, and they should have it in within a day or two. So yep, that's how you do upload. Now, once they've connected them to Smart Lead, you want to now enable warmups, right? So you might be asking, okay, Aaron, what is a warm-up, right? What do you mean by enabling warm-up? You see, if you immediately start sending out 20 to 30 emails a day, every single day, Microsoft and Google will mark you as spam. The way to get around this, and it should say Google too, but the way to get around this is to build your sender reputation so that Microsoft and Google know that you're a real person and not just some robot, right? Luckily for us, the tool that we're using has this system built into their software, and here's how you get started. First, click on the email account you want to edit, and you should have this screen here below. Then click on warm-up, and you can adjust the settings. And one important thing here is that Google and Microsoft have different warm-up settings and sending limits. So here's the first, here are the ones for Google first. So for Google warm-up, here's what you want to do. 25, increase per day by 5, randomized number of email warm-ups between 20 to 25, reply rate 40, daily ramp up 5, right? Again, you can just pause this, watch it. This is for Google when it comes to warming up. Then click on update and go to general. And here I recommend you copy the same settings I have here. Again, it says 27, but I actually recommend 22. So do 22 and do 7, right? You can play around with like 20 to 30 messages a day, or like 6 to 8 minutes when it comes to like the time gap. But to start, these are the best settings I recommend, right? Then click on save, and now since you know what settings to put, we're going to do this for all the email accounts using the bulk update settings. What you're going to do is first scroll all the way down to Smart Lead, go to the email account section on Smart Lead, click on this box right here on the left, like this one right here, and then click on bulk update on the right, and then just update it all update all the email accounts that you have with these same warm up and sending settings, right? So once you've done that, if you have Microsoft, here's how you do it, right? This is direct from scaled mail, and you want to have 10 to 16 warm-up sent per day, ramp up by 2, 65 to 75 reply rate, 5 to 10 sending per day, and the time gap between sends should be about 10 minutes. That's what I recommend, or that's what scaled mail, recommends when you do for Microsoft, so use that. And then also make sure you do the same bulk update for Microsoft as well. Finally, you're done with the technical setup, but now you need to wait 2 weeks for your email accounts to get ready before you send out any emails. Again, 2 weeks, just so you can you show Google and Microsoft that, okay, this guy's a real person. He's gradually sending emails. He's not blasting 25 the first fucking day. He's gradually sending it, and now he has it, right? One important note here is that you never want to disable warm-up. You always want to have it running even while you're sending out cold emails. So to summarize this step, here's what you should have done. You should have bought dummy domains using prefixes and suffixes on Porkmon to do the outreach form. You should have forwarded the domains to your main website. You should have bought accounts using premium inboxes and scaled mail, and you should have connected them to Smart Lead and enabled warm-up on the email account. That is all the technical setup when it comes to the email. Pretty simple, pretty clean, right? Now, what we're going to get into now is how to identify your ideal customers and build a lead list of them, right? Now, the tools that you're going to need is Apollo.io, Million Verifier ID mounts, and for local small business database like a Google Maps data scraper, use Outscraper, right? For most of you watching, you might only need Apollo Million Verifier, or maybe if you need, you might just need this and the lead list verifier, or you might just need this and a lead list verifier, right? It just depends on who you're targeting, right? If most of your ideal customers are local businesses, use Outscraper. If your ideal customers are on LinkedIn, like enterprises, use Apollo, right? So how do you first identify? You might be like, okay, well, Arian, I don't know who the hell my ideal customers are. How do you identify your ideal customers? So the way you want to do this is you want to take a look at your current clients and best case studies. Like literally all you have to do is just go after the types of clients that you love working with and have gotten good results for. This works super well if you go after people who are similar to your best case studies. Why? Because you're selling to cold traffic. Again, you have to remember, like, you are literally pitching to strangers, right? They don't trust you at all. But if you have a case study of getting good results for someone similar to the person, similar to them pretty much, it'll convert really, really well. So to reiterate here, the easiest way to find your ideal customers for outbound is to simply go after prospects that are similar to your best case studies. Now, if you don't have case studies or quite simply you don't know who your ideal customers are, you must do market research to find them, right? Go load up ChatGPT and start researching on your service and ask it what markets could benefit the most from using your services, right? Now, I'm not going to walk you through step by step like how to do this and how to really go digging deep, but really, when it comes to picking a market, there are two questions that you must answer to make sure that your target market is viable for you to do mass outbound, right? Number one, is the TAM, like the total addressable market, at least 10,000? Like, is there at least 10,000 people in your market, right? Outbound's really difficult with a small like TAM because you'll literally burn through it super quick, right? For example, let's say like your TAM is a good example of this could be like let's say e-com course sellers, right? Or not even that. Let's say something like e-com course sellers on school. Let's say, right? If that's your TAM, you're not going to have that many people. You're probably going to have like 100 to 200 max, right? There's no way in hell it's getting over like 10,000, maybe 1,000 max. But let's say your TAM now is like roofers. Well, there's like thousands of roofing companies, so definitely that could work out. So that's how you differentiate. Like, is your TAM at least 10,000 plus? If yes, then you're good. If no, then that outbound will not work for that target market, right? So that's the first question. And the second question is, are they on databases like LinkedIn or Google Maps? It says OnScraper here, I know, but it's just like Google Maps. If you answered yes, well, let me get back to the second question. If they're on LinkedIn, they're easily scrapable. Again, a lot of these enterprise companies are on LinkedIn. Or if they're on Google Maps, that works out super well as well because quite simply, you can scrape Google Maps. If you answer yes to these questions, then your market should be good to go. Now, if you don't have case studies or you did some research and you still could not find a market to go after, here's an easy way to find one. The way you want to do this is simply look at the best service providers in your industry, right? So let's say you're running like SEO, right? Just take a look at the top SEO agencies, and specifically, like, if you don't know where to start with, take a look at the top SEO agencies and just ask yourself, okay, where are most SEO, like these top SEO agencies going to, right? And what you'll find is a commonality. I know because we've worked with a lot of SEO agencies, and a lot of them like go after lawyers. Let's say, okay, they go after lawyers. Boom, let's just go after lawyers because clearly the market's working. So if there's the thing is, a lot of people are like, oh, there's saturation in the market. It's saturated. It's very competitive. But the thing is, if it's saturated and it's competitive, that literally means the market is there. That means it works. It literally works, man. Like it's insane. Like all you have to do is quite literally take a look at take a look at a market that's already working and just copy it. That's it, right? There must be a reason why they're selling to that market, and more than likely it's because that market needs whatever you're selling. So just copy it, and your market, and literally that market will be your ideal customer. So again, if you don't know, if you're lazy, if you're like, okay, all right, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to have to go through this entire research process, just take a look at the top service providers in your industry, and just ask yourself, like, who are they working with? Who are their ideal customers? Okay, let me just copy them. And just like that, you should be fine and good to go, right? So just copy that and you're good. Now that you've identified your ideal customers it's now time to build a lead list of them. So for this first example, we're going to use Apollo.io. Once you log on to Apollo, you'll be met with this screen. This is a bit outdated, but pretty much with the new Apollo filters, it should still allow you it should still allow you to go through and find all this, right? From there, you're going to start inputting the filters to build your lead list. Again, it's a bit outdated. Apollo just launched a new update, but the filters and the philosophy is still the same. It's just placed at the top, right? Let's first start with the employee headcount, right? Click on the employee headcount and click on the number of employees you want to include in your research. Then go to job titles and input the job titles you want to target, right? So for example, we'll put like CEO, owner, founder, CMO, president of marketing, yada, yada, yada. One important thing here, or like one rule of thumb I can give you, is that if your ideal customers have like 1 to 150 employees, you can target the CEO, owner, and founder, right? But if your ideal customers have like over 150 employees, oftentimes the big decision makers of those companies quite simply will not have the time to reply back to your email, right? Some of them will, yes, but think about this, right? Let's say, let's try to plug yourself into their brain. Let's say you're the CEO of a 150 plus employee company. You have to manage and run a company of over 150 people. You have kids, maybe you have a spouse, you have board meetings, you have people under you. You have to raise funding for the next quarter since you're hiring more people. I'm sure you're starting to see the point. Like it just gets very, very, very hard to penetrate through the crowd because they're just so fucking busy. Like they get super busy, right? That's why you start targeting lower level people like marketing director, COO, vice president of operations, etc., right? You'll have better success targeting these people because their emails and minds won't be busy as like the CEO of like 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000 company employee, 3,000 people company, right? So does that mean that you absolutely cannot book meetings with the CEO of a 1,000 employee company? No, but you will have more success targeting lower level people when you're trying to sell your services to these larger companies. Another note is depending on what you're selling, target the employee or target the job titles associated with that service. Again, this sounds simple, but a lot of people still get this wrong, right? If you're selling marketing services, target the CMO and marketing director. If you're selling financial services, target the CFO. If you're selling cybersecurity, target CTO, right? Once you have the job titles, now go to the industry and search for whatever industry you want to target. In this example, we're just going after marketing and advertising agencies above, right? Now, finally, input the location of where you want to target. For me, it'll just be US and Canada, right? Now, once you've inputted the filters, it's time to save and export the list, right? Make sure you are on Net New and click on Net New up here and click on the box next to right here, next to save. Then click on Apply and add those contacts to the list. Unfortunately, Apollo only lets you do this 100 at a time, so you have to do this over and over again for a while. But once you save a good amount, we recommend anywhere between 1 to 3,000. You can start the export process. If you want to watch a full-on step-by-step guide on how to do this, click on this link. Click on this video I made for you guys watching the YouTube video. Just look up Apollo B2B Lead Generation RNRL, and it should pop up. And by the way, in this video, I also go over a technique or like a website you can use to just pay for Apollo leads without having to manually sit there, add to lead list, add leads to a list and export it, right? It's a lot easier. So go watch that video if you want a more in-depth guide. Now, here's how you can script unlimited leads for small businesses, right? If you're targeting local small businesses like plumbers, HVAC, dental clinics, chiropractors, roofers, landscaping, auto detailing, you get my point. Whether you're a SaaS offering dental clinics to your software solutions, or agency offering paid ads or SEO to roofers, this strategy is for you. So let's get right into how you can do this. You're going to use outscripper.com and you're going to sign up for a software. Then on the left, it should look something like this. You want to go to the left and hover over services, then go to by type and click on businesses POI and Google Maps data scraper. Once you're there, you'll have something like this below, right? This screenshot right here. Now, here's how you input the filters so that you can scrape your ideal customers. Once you're here, you can input the filters. And let's say I want to target Italian restaurants in the US. I don't know. After doing some research, I did some ChatGPT. The cities with a good amount of Italian restaurants are LA, Boston, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. Here's what that would look like on Outscraper. So look here. I have Italian restaurant, Italian food, Northern Italian restaurant, Southern Italian restaurants, and then for the filters down here, I put Las Vegas, Boston, LA, right? Notice, again, the search terms and cities. how you can get the most out of your search is I want you to imagine that the search bar is like a Google Maps search. Like literally, like imagine like you're Googling something. Like if you're Googling food or roofer near me, right? You can input as many terms as you want relating to your industry. So for my case, let's say if I'm going after Italian restaurants, I could literally put in fettuccine alfredo or lasagna because it's Italian food. For you, it could be divorce lawyer, immigration lawyer if you're targeting law firms, right? Then what I want you to do really is think outside the box and put things related to your industry. Again, like you can spin this so many different ways. If you need help, just go to ChatGPT and be like, okay, what are some terms I can use on Outscraper to scrape X type of company, and it'll give you some, right? Then once you've inputted everything, go with the settings that I have below, right? You want to extract emails and socials. You want to actually click on ignore without emails, and then delete email duplicates, right? If you're only using this for cold email, which we are, click on ignore without emails. If you're doing cold calling for some reason, if you need the cold calls, you can keep it unchecked. All that's left for you now is to press get data, and within a few hours, your lead list should be ready. If you want to watch a full video on how to do how to scrape from Outscraper, you can click on this video or watch this video, which is literally 90 minutes of the best Google Maps lead scraping strategy. Go check it out. Very, very good. Give you a great idea on how to do this, right? Now, once you've exported the lead list, it's now time for you to clean it. Why? Well, the thing is, man, most databases don't always have the most accurate data. The emails that you pull from them could be emails that don't exist anymore, or just overall bad emails to send to them. This means if you pull from a database and use the data without cleaning it, you'll send to bad emails and have your deliverability get hurt, which ends up making it so that your emails land in spam. You obviously don't want that. And again, like literally like 50 to 60% of the emails you pull from Apollo, from Outscraper, unfortunately, they're just not valid. Or it's really like 40 to 50, but still, like it is. Sometimes it is on the higher end, and it's just not valid. So it just does not end up working out, right? We obviously don't want that, so that's why we use a verifier like Million Verifier. So to get started for Million Verifier, go to millionverifier.com and just buy some credits, right? After you bought some credits, you want to click on Select File and just pick that file that you just exported from Apollo or Outscraper, right? Once you're done, Million Verifier should get to verifying, and after about 15 to 30 minutes, it should output you something like this, right? We only want to use the good emails here, so it's like 44% good emails, 56% risky, and then 0% bad. This is a weird list, so just disregard this, but usually there'll be a bad thing here. But obviously, we only want to use the good emails since they're the only ones valid that are sending to. So click on Download Good Emails, and just like that, you now have a valid email list of your ideal customers to send to, right? One important note here is that when you scrape Outscraper, it might scrape, and I'll go over it in the other video, it might give you like this entire behemoth of data. Like it'll give you like their number, it'll give you like all this other crazy stuff that you don't really need. What you want to do for that is you want to pretty much delete most of the columns and rows that you get from Outscraper, but you only want to keep like the name for emails column. You want to keep the email column, and you want to keep the site. That's pretty much it. Again, I go more in depth in the other video that I made, so go check that out. But just delete some columns on Outscraper so that it can actually verify. Because otherwise, if you upload this into Outscraper, if you do upload the Outscraper list just like that from Outscraper into Million Verifier, it might be like file is too big, so you want to delete some. Now, we're going to talk about how to create hyper-targeted lead list using AI. This is a bit advanced, but just stick with me here. If you do this correctly, again, this is a bit advanced, but if you do this correctly, you'll be able to do what I call sniper campaigns with precise targeting. So when you're sending cold emails, you want to obviously make it seem like you personally hand wrote to the prospect, right? Obviously, this is difficult at scale when you have like 3,000 people in the campaign, but the more it seems like you personally hand wrote it and you did time to do the research, the better, right? This goes a layer deeper. This goes a layer deeper. This goes a layer deeper than personalization, as you want it to seem like you really understand your job titles, the industry, and their desires and pain points. So in this part of the guide, we're going to go over how you can do this with the help of AI. So as you can see here, like a general campaign from Apollo and the stats you could get. versus a Chad filtered campaign in the stats you could get. Much less, obviously the leads are like literally a third of what the Apollo campaign is, but it could get you more positive responses. So there's two primarily tools that we're going to need to do this. Obviously, we're going to use clay.com, which is literally the best sales tool in 2025. It helps you integrate many different softwares and tools like LinkedIn, Indeed, ChatGPT, HubSpot, Salesforce, and so much more. And we're going to use this tool to find trigger events and filter out our lead list. And we're going to use ChatGPT 4.0 Mini. At the time when I made this guide, it was 4.0 Mini. There's obviously 5, so just replace that with 5 here. And make sure you're leveraging Mini and not the 4.0, because if you do the regular one, it'll cost you a lot more. So make sure you do the Mini. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever had someone or something come through perfect, like literally come through for you at the perfect time? Like literally, like the perfect client that you could pay that close so that you can pay your employees, or maybe even pay your rent at the end of the month, or you're overloaded at work, but you just hire someone just in time to meet a deadline, or like you are, you guys get what I mean. Like it's just the perfect timing. It just seems divine, right? Now imagine we can create that perfect timing for outreach, right? You find the perfect company to reach out to at the perfect time. Wouldn't that be a match made in heaven? And you can do this by using Clay and leveraging certain trigger points, right? The most common trigger points you can use are hiring posts, companies recently getting funded, and overall news about the companies itself, right? Here's how you do this. So for this example, I'll show you how to only reach out to companies who have job posts and hiring for a certain role. We'll use Clay's web scraper for this. You can do this natively in Clay, but those credits can be a bit pricey, so we'll just take the Claygen. After you build your lead list, import it into Clay and make sure you have the company's website, right? So pretty much, here's the prompt you want to use for Claygen. Based on this company's site, see if they're hiring for any jobs right now. This works really well if you're going after a lot of enterprise companies or like mid-level companies, and be like, I want you to search the internet and see if they're hiring. I want you to look. This was for like a education client, so we were literally looking at like school district websites. But you can tell it like to look at Indeed, like in LinkedIn, Indeed, Glassdoor, yada yada yada. For your industry, if there's a specific site that they hire people from, like for example, for the education industry, it was Higher Ed Jobs, Teachaway, School Spring, yada yada yada. So if you have industry specific job boards, pretty much, you can use this. And then, hold up. Now, once you've done this research, here's what the process should look, or the output should look like. We're now going to use this data in our email. Here's literally like an easy line you can do when reaching out to these companies. Hey name, I saw your job post for instructor on Indeed, and then replace the job title with a specific role they're hiring for and the website where I found. So like, it could be like, hey, I saw you're hiring for director of admissions on Indeed, right? Again, this is super powerful, super personalized, and you can use this to leverage your offer. This works really well if you're doing like recruiting offers or any type of job hiring, HR type of offer, right? So this works super well. Oops, hold up. Okay, boom. So that's a quick summary of that. By using this technique, you can create a highly targeted lead list. While you may reach out to fewer people, the quality of the leads will improve. This allows you to write your emails to a specific type of company or person who fit your ideal profile, leading to less emails sent, but more calls booked. I have more ways you can create sniper campaigns later in the document. This is just a teaser because I wanted to throw this in here. So keep scrolling and we'll get to that part of the guide to learn more. Now, by now, you should have already set up your premium inboxes and scaled mode. Should have already set up your email accounts in the Smart Lead. You should have scraped your list and verified it. And now we're going to put the valid emails in the Smart Lead to create the campaign. So click on the Create Campaign button here. Upload the valid emails in the Smart Lead. Here you can leave all of these settings on except for ignore leads that exist in another campaign. If this is like your first campaign, if you have already run outbound in the past and you don't want to target the same people, enable this. However, if you're new, just keep it off. And then map out the different variables you want to use in your copy here. Again, I'll go more in depth later on how to use variables, but for now, here's what we recommend using. We recommend use name, email, job title, city, or location and company name. You can definitely mix match and or add more or less, but this should be good to start for your copy. Once you've mapped all of this out, click on next, and just like that, you have uploaded your lead list into SmartLead. So kind of give you a summary of this step, you've now identified and created your ideal customer, you've built a lead list of them, you've verified the emails you pulled, and you've uploaded them into SmartLead. Now that you have done all this, it's now time for you to write some copy. Alrighty, now we're going to get into the copywriting side of things, and specifically, I'm going to teach you how to write scripts that literally print you meetings. Now, this will probably be the most nuanced part of this document in this video, because every piece of copy will be different depending on who you're targeting, the industry, job titles, and what services and offer you actually have, right? So when it comes to scripts though, there are some non-negotiables that I think anybody sending cold emails should be doing, no matter the industry, no matter the offer, whatever it may be. One, you want to keep it short, preferably around like 75 words or less. Two, you want absolutely no images or links in the email, even in their signature. I'm going to get more into this later, but this will help you get out of spam. And then three, you want to write at a 5th grade reading level. Now, the first and third point, the reason why you want to do this is because you want to keep it as simple as possible. Nobody has the time to sit there and read your entire encyclopedia page on what your company does and who you help and whatever your offer is, right? You want to keep it very simple, very short, and to the point, right? Now, using these 3 principles, we can create a killer outbound email. The first step I want you to do, however, is before we get to writing any sort of copy, is you have to do market research. And for this, we'll use our good old friend, ChatGPT. So here's how you do market research, right? For this example, I'll be targeting real estate companies, and I want to pitch them my video production services, right? For you, just replace real estate and video production with whatever industry you're going after, as well as whatever services you offer. Now, again, for you, it could be different, but the prompt will just stay the same, just switch to industry and targeting, right? So what you want to ask it is, okay, or tell it, it's okay, put yourself in the shoes of a owner or CEO or whatever job title it may be of a real estate group or company, right? And then it's going to put yourself in some shoes. So first you want to give some background, you want to prompt it, then ask it, what keeps your target market up at night when it comes to X side of the business? With X being whatever service you're selling. If you're selling SEO, say marketing. If you have a software that helps project management, just say that, right? And specifically, and another thing I want to write here is like say something, you can, SEO is a broad term. It's kind of old, like a high level, or like marketing is a broad term. But if you're selling SEO, you can be like, okay, what keeps you up at night? Or tell me more information about, expand on this, but more so talk about the organic side of things. Or if you're selling meta ads, you could be like, well, okay, marketing. You can say marketing, it's going to give you like a whole, thing when it says marketing. And then you can be like, okay, specifically, what keeps you up at night when it comes to meta ads or paid ads, whatever it may be, right? And it'll give you a list like this, right? It should output you a bunch of different concerns, desires, and how your services could possibly help them. All of this is fantastic ammo to use in the emails itself. I would then ask it to boil it down to the 3 biggest problems and how your services or offer could help them solve that. Write down those 3 biggest pain points, like just literally copy paste and put in a Google document. We're going to use them later in our copy. If you currently already have clients and you're targeting similar prospects, you can simply ask your clients, like, okay, before working with us, what was like your biggest pain point? What did you struggle with? Like, what was going on in your mind, right? Another angle you can do is you can pitch. Another angle we can take this is pitching your clients that by working with you, they can get your ideal customers, right? So this is very common, and I wanted to put this in here for other marketing agency owners specifically, because that's who primarily watch my channel. But this is very good if you're pretty much selling lead generation, if you're selling SEO, if you're selling paid ads, Google ads, whatever it may be, to these companies, right? So here's how you do this, right? First, ask GPT, what are the most valuable types of customers or clients, and it should output you some, right? So I asked it, what are the most valuable types of clients for the owner of a real estate group or company, right? So it's going to tell you, okay, referral heavy clients, this, and this, right? Now ask it again to boil it down to 3 most valuable types of clients. And then from here, you want to pick one of the 3 most valuable ones and ask it how many of those clients is your target market getting per quarter and per month, right? So for this one, it said, the 3 most valuable types of clients for a real estate group is repeat clients, referral heavy clients and high net worth clients, right? Now for the first two, we can't really say, hey, we'll get you more, well, you can say more repeat clients, but it's a bit of a harder sell. But if you're selling ads or whatever it may be, and you say, hey, I can help you get more high net worth clients, it's a lot better than saying, hey, we'll just get you more leads, right? It's more specific, and specifically you're speaking their lingo, their day-to-day stuff. And then here you're just asking, okay, well, if how many high net worth clients are they getting every single month if we're going to pitch them this, right? And they'll tell you, okay, well, it depends and it varies, and it might like go around your question, but you want to pretty much ask it like, okay, what's the estimate, right? From there, you want to write this range down, and again, we're going to use this for later. In my case, the number of high net worth clients that the real estate groups get every single quarter is around 5 to 20. And then ask GPT, how are they currently attracting these types of customers or clients, right? So literally ask it, how are X group attracting these types of customers or clients? And it's going to say, okay, leveraging technology for whatever, personalized concierge services, exclusive events and networking, right? Again, ask it to boil it down to the 3 most common ways and pick the first one on the list to write down as it's probably the most common way. Now, with all of this prompting and engineering, you should have a fucking laundry list of pain points and dream customers and clients that your target market wants to get. On the pain point side of things, you can also probe GPT to give you more info on it by simply asking it, okay, why does this industry have this type of pain point, and like explain why. Again, all you're doing here is all you're doing here is you're trying to get in the head of your ideal customers. This is very, very good market research. And to all of you who've done any sort of marketing in general, this is what you need to do when you run ads, when you do content, when you write cold emails. This is just fantastic market research because you'll know exactly what your ideal customers face and how your offer can help them, right? And then by now, this should be enough. You should understand your target market a lot better. Write all that down, right? Now that you have all of this info, you can literally use openers such as hey, name as the job title at company name. I'm sure you're always looking to address pain point they face. As the CMO of Johnson & Johnson, I'm sure you're always looking for new ways to address building brand awareness and trust. This is said building. As the sales director of Ogilvy, I'm sure you're always looking for new ways to get new sales appointments booked on your sales team calendar every month, right? These types of openers are fantastic, as once you know what pain points your ideal customers face, write them down and save it for later, right? Again, this is super good. All of these pains are super good. In terms of offer, we're just going to use Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer format, right? It's literally, we help niche to end result in time frame without pain point using your mechanism. So some examples are, we help realtors close 3 to 5 new deals every month without using paid ads, using our organic funnel method. That literally could be SEO. We can establish you as the leading law firm in whatever city without using billboards, using our studio quality videos. And I say billboards because that's the most common way. Again, that's the most common way lawyers get their message out is billboards, right? So when you tell them we can make you better, they're like, wow, how does this happen, right? And you can only get this type of information, like this billboard stuff, after you do market research. So hopefully you're starting to get my point. We'll book you 10 to 15 qualified sales calls in our calendar every month without relying on referrals or word of mouth using our outbound system. This is kind of overplayed, but it still can work because a lot of agencies and specifically companies, they use referrals. So if you tell them, hey, we'll get you more calls without you having to use referrals, they're like, fantastic, sure. Using the pain points and probing the questions above, you can create an offer for yourself. And once you have that, all you really need is evidence and guarantee. So evidence, right? First, for evidence, this is the most important part, right? Like this is literally the most important part of your offer. Why? Because when the prospect gets your pitch, they want to see if your services or product or offer has worked for other people in the past. Have you made someone else more money, or you saved someone else time, or you've saved someone money by working with them, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say you're looking at 2 weight loss programs, both with the same offer of we'll help you lose 5 to 10 pounds of fat every single month, right? One of them has no case studies at all, while the other one has 2 pictures of results like this, right? So one has no case studies and the one has case studies, right? From the exact same offer, they're running the same offer and pictures, which one would you pick? 100% you probably pick this one, right? With the case studies. Why? Because you know that the second program has gotten results for other people in the past. And so because of that, you're more likely to go with that program because again, it's worked for other people in the past. Even if your social proof is a case study in a different industry, like even if it's like a different, literally in a different industry, if you're going after realtors, but your case study is with roofers, still use it, right? Because it shows competence and it shows that your services work. And secondly, it shows that you're not a scammer. Again, right? The biggest obstacle you're going to face when it comes to cold email is trust. They've never met you. They don't never even heard about you. So why should they even trust you in the first place? You can break this trust barrier simply by having case studies that show you're a legit company and you've gotten results in the past. Now, if you're a beginner, you might be like, okay, well, Arjen, I don't have any case studies. What do I do? Here's what you do, right? You simply work on performance. I know most of you beginners don't want to do this, but trust me, this is the only way to basically charge a lot of money when starting out, right? This is the only way to build up to the point where you can start charging more. Work on a performance basis until you can produce a case study from a client. Then once you have one, literally all you need is one case study, you can target people that are similar to your case study client and then charge loads of money, right? Trust me, this is really like a non-negotiable, but once you have that first case study, it becomes so easy to get new clients, and all you need to do is just get one. Literally just get one. And to get you one, and to get you one as fast as possible, I highly suggest you work with that client on a performance basis since you have no evidence, right? So either work on a performance basis or offer like a crazy guarantee. That's what I'd say. And one last thing when it comes to social proof. Even if you have no case studies in the past, I would also suggest what you do is let's say you work for a Google Ads agency that works with realtors, right? Now technically you don't have any case studies, but and you want to start your own Google Ads agency. Technically you don't have any case studies because you're fresh, but what you do have is years of experience in that industry, and you can use that in the emails itself. So even if you don't have like direct case studies, but you have expertise and experience in the niche, you can still use that in the emails. You can literally still mention that. Like, oh, we've been in the industry for this many years, we've gotten this result, right? Still use that. Now, finally, it's time to implement the guarantee. Now, if you have a bunch of case studies, again, you don't read a guarantee, but if you add it in the mix, it can really spice up your offer to the next level because it'll be insane. If you're a beginner though, you need a guarantee. Like I mentioned, the prospect does not trust you at all since you're doing cold outbound. So since you have no case studies, you must guarantee some type of result that you'll get them. For example, 10 qualified sales calls in the first 90 days or don't pay, lose 10 pounds of fat in the first 60 days or you get your money back, get 5 new investor clients in the first 60 days or you don't pay. Now, all of these are good starting point, but if you can get the numbers up to like, let's say, i.e. 20 calls in the first 90 days, guaranteed, or get the time frame lower, lose 10 pounds of fat in the first 45 days, it will make the guarantee better. If you're really confident in your services, I recommend you do this. If you're like, Arjen, I don't know if I can even fulfill on the guarantee, just say, hey, if you don't get, let's say, 10 calls in the first 90 days, we'll work with you for free, right? That way, at least, you're not refunding anybody, you're just working for free, right? So literally, if you're confident in your services and you're like, I can get these fuckers really good results, pitch the money back guarantee. If you're like, okay, Arjen, I'm a beginner, I don't know if I can actually do this, just be like, okay, I'll work with you for free, right? So that's how it works with guarantees. So to summarize here, use social proof, put it on their landing page, put it in your cold email, put it on YouTube, etc., etc. If you don't have social proof, work on a performance basis until you can produce a case study, which then gives you social proof. The more case studies you have, the less you'll need a guarantee. However, if you don't have case studies, you absolutely need a guarantee. Now we're going to get into the CTAs. Like, first, what even is a CTA? Let's define it. CTA literally is a call to action. And you're going to use a CTA to guide the prospect to the next steps, i.e. to purchase your product or services or to get on a call. So some examples of CTA is, hey, can I get more information? Would you be free sometime next week to discuss this? Mind if I share this case study or resource with you, right? Some things to consider with CTAs, and the biggest thing I need you to understand is you must make it easy for them to say yes to, right? Again, remember, always, I'm going to keep repeating this because this is one of the biggest mindset shifts you need to have when you're doing cold email, is you have to remember you're selling to cold traffic. They do not trust you and they don't know you, so you must break the ice with an easy yes on their end, right? So think of it like this. Would you ask a girl to marry you before you've gone on a first date with her? Probably not, right? And the same concept applies with CTAs and cold emails. You can't just ask people to like hop on a call immediately in the first email. You have to provide some information and value first. Now there's a few ways to do this, but first let's get into what not to do, right? Here's what not to do. Again, do not ask someone for a call in the first email. There's too much friction. Again, they don't know you. They don't know, unless you're like Alex Hormozi, Iman Gadzhi, or somebody like Ty Lopez, like, and you've been in the industry and game and your ideal customers absolutely know you. Don't do this, right? Unless you're that level, don't do this. Or unless you're that level, you can do that. But majority of you, like literally 99% of you, are not at that level, so don't do that. And the second thing is that people value their time immensely, especially like high-level CEOs. So when you get after like these higher, like if you're selling to like, Hormozi has this thing where he says, solve rich people's problems, it'll pay you better. Now, a lot of beginners look at that and be like, okay, well, I'll just target rich people, right? And if you're targeting these rich people, they'll be fucking busy because they're running a company, they have families, they have personal stuff going on. So they're not going to just be like, okay, let me just get on this call because this guy randomly emailed me, right? No, you have to provide value first before they can give you your time. So don't pitch for call in the first email. Don't ask for an audit either. I know this is kind of counterintuitive for most of you like SEO agencies or like ads agencies, whatever it may be. It can be effective, but most people know that audit is basically like a sales call. Like they can kind of sniff it through. Like they're like, okay, well, this is pretty much a sales call. Like I'm not gonna hop on this call. Again, it can work, but for cold traffic, don't immediately pitch an audit in the first email. Maybe in the follow-up email, like maybe once you get a positive response, and they're like, yeah, send me more information. You send more information, and you pitch the audit. That works. But in the first email itself, don't pitch an audit. With that being said, let's get into the 3 best types of CTAs in cold email. For the first type of CTA, you're just asking for permission to send more information, right? So some of my favorites are like, hey, can I send along more information? Or would you be open to seeing if we can do the same for you? This works really well if you pair it with a case study. So what I mean is, if you have a case study that's really good, like let's say you have a really banger case study with a dental clinic, right? And then you reach out to the other dental clinics and you say, hey, would you be open to seeing if we can do the same for you? That's gonna work super well, right? Another one, does this make sense to explore further? Would this be something you're interested in? And you can use all of these interchangeably, but the premise is still the same. You're just asking for permission to send more information about what you actually offer and sell, right? Again, soft pitch, soft CTA. So use all of these and variations of different types of these, and I promise you it'll work out super well. Another one I like is a sales asset. So this could be a case study, a document, a valuable resource, portfolio, whatever it may be. And the reason why this works out super well is it showcases your past results and expertise without having to hop on a call first. It's super easy, again, all of these, super easy for the prospect to say yes to. And one thing to note here with this though is you want to make sure it's easily consumable and doesn't take up too much of a prospect's time, right? If you send like a 75-page document to a prospect, they're going to be like, okay, well, this is cool, but I don't have time to read all this, right? Try to make it like a one-pager. Try to make it super easily consumable. If you're pitching like videos, don't send them like a 2-hour-long video. Send them like a 2-minute one, 3-minute one. Make it super easy for them to consume, right? So some examples are, hey, mind if I send a quick resource on how we did it? Again, this works super well if the case study you have is in the same industry you're targeting. Again, so let's say you have like a case study document on dental clinics, and you're like, hey, mind if I send a quick resource on how we did it? Best believe the other dental clinics will be like, yeah, 100%. Like if your case study is good, yeah, 100%. Like let me see how you did it. Second one, would you be open to seeing our portfolio, or would you mind if I send you some examples, right? This works super well for video production or web design offers because it's more of a visual thing. And yeah, highly recommend this as well. Make it super easy to say yes. Now, this is what I like to call the value-based CTA. This is, in my opinion, the best one. And this is the one that most of you should do, especially for a beginner, because it'll definitely book you more meetings. Here, you're going to provide some value before you hop on a call with them, obviously, right? So pretty much it's like, hey, we have a one-pager that it's kind of similar to sales asset, but it's a mix, right? So for some examples are, hey, we have a one-pager that breaks all of this down. What if I send it over? I made a 3-minute loom breaking down how our services work. Can I send it over to you, right? Can I send over a portfolio of videos, right? Or I made 3 free thumbnails for a YouTube channel. Can I share them with you here? The last one is easily the most valuable one since it's free work and it's a lead magnet. Again, I highly recommend you use this value-based CTA as it'll perform better than the soft CTA, especially the free work / lead magnet route. Here's some more of those you can use. I made a sample email based off your case studies in email. Mind if I share it with you here? This is like a copywriting one, right? I wrote an entire email for you to send to your list, and I guarantee it'll perform better than your current ones. If it does, we can talk about working together. Can I share it with you here? Again, this, and you obviously don't want to make these videos before you send it to them. You want to make these after they say yes. So after they say yes, make it to them, right? We made you 3 YouTube shorts from the podcast you've been on. Can I share it with you here? Again, fantastic. If you want to watch a full guide on this, on how to use lead magnets and cold email, watch the video I made here. Yes, literally 2x your cold email reply rate. Just look it up on my channel. So, putting everything together, right? Here's everything when it comes to scripts. Now that you've done your research, crafted some type of offer, have a few different CTAs, here's a simple cold email format you can follow and will never go out of style. So it's literally, hey, first name, call out their pain, you have an offer, case study, CTA, boom. Works when I told you this has worked for like over 2 years, this works, right? Here's a few examples. Let's say you're targeting marketing agencies. Hey, name, as the sales director of Ogilvy, I'm sure you're always looking for new ways to put appointments on your sales team calendar. We'll book you 10 to 15 qualified calls every single month without relying on referrals using our outbound infrastructure. We recently helped XYZ company book 20 calls last month using the same method. I made a sample email based off your case studies and services. Can I share with you here? Let's say you're targeting law firms. Hey, Nick, as a CMO of Morgan & Morgan, I'm sure you're always looking for new ways to establish trust and differentiate yourself from your competitors. That's the pain way they have. We can get you 3 to 5 new personal injury cases every month without using billboards or paid ads, using our studio quality videos. We recently helped Arians Law in Dallas become the leading law firm in that area and build trust at the market. Would you be open to seeing our portfolio of videos beforehand? Boom. It works super well. Hey Lisa, let's say targeting realtors. I imagine you're tired of spending hundreds on ads every month and not getting the return that you want. We can help you close 3 to 5 new homes every quarter without having to use paid ads using our organic funnel method. We recently helped Arian close 3 homes in the span of 2 months using the same method. Would you be open to seeing if we could do the same for you? Again, like this is super well. Pain, offer, case study, CTA, boom, every single time. Just have this wired in your brain. Pain, offer, case study, CTA. Works super well. Now, subject lines, right? A lot of people overcomplicate this, and I'm gonna get super in depth on this. A lot of people overcomplicate this, but the entire point of a subject line is to just get the person to open up the email. That's literally it. In my opinion, you don't need to have the subject line related to your offer, since it'll actually lower your open rate. So what I mean is, if you have a subject line that says like, more leads for you, Lisa, they'll be like, okay, this is a marketing email. I mean, I don't want to open this, right? But if you have it kind of vague, then they'll open it, right? Again, all you want is for the prospect to be intrigued enough to open up the email and read what you've put in it. It's kind of like dating someone, right? You'll initially be drawn to them because of their looks, like their subject line, but you'll stay with that person if their personality and character traits are good. Offer, right? So it's kind of similar to dating in that aspect. Here's what not to do. Again, I like to think of, when I provide you guys these examples, I like to do what not to do. This is kind of inverted thinking. I believe Charlie Munger really made this popular, and I learned this from Hermosi and Sam Ovens. But pretty much when you're thinking of, okay, how can I get to this goal, or how can I successfully do X thing really well, you first want to be like, okay, what do I not want to do to achieve the goal? What do I not want to do to, let's say, write better emails, right? So in this case, we're gonna go over, here's what not to do when it comes to subject lines, right? Do not put the subject line as just their name, right? Again, like literally, my name is just, if somebody sent me emails saying Arian Ariel like this, I'd be like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? And you don't want to do this. This is cold traffic you're reaching out to. Unless you're literally Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or someone else with high status, they have no idea who the fuck you are. So don't just put that, right? I know for a bunch of you who think cold email is similar to copywriting, might be like, okay, well, maybe this works for me, or maybe I've seen copywriting emails and this might work for me. But you have to realize with copywriting, those people are sending out emails to warm traffic. Because when you get a copywriting email, that means you opted into something, right? You opted into a lead magnet, you opted into a funnel, a school, a webinar, whatever it may be. In that case, they already know you, right? Or you already know them, or whoever the copywriter is. So you can use that. But in this case, since this is cold traffic, remember, they've never opted into anything, this is cold traffic, you want to make sure that the trust barrier is there. Another one, extremely obvious, don't fucking leave the subject line blank. Like, you go straight to spam, that's pretty obvious. Finally, do not track open rates. I know it seems counterintuitive, you're like, what? don't track open rates, how am I supposed to know if my emails are being opened? But if you do track open rates, your open rates will actually go down, ironically. This is because there's a pixel that gets attached to every single email you send out if you track open rates. That tracking pixel slightly hurts the deliverability, lowering your open rates. So on Smart Lead, you want to click on don't track open rates and boost your deliverability by sending emails in plain text without HTML. Go ahead and enable that. And don't track open rates, and you'll get more people to open up your emails. And one thing I want to point out here is, I don't think I mentioned this in this document itself. You might be like, okay, well, Aryan, if I'm not tracking open rates, how am I supposed to know if my emails are being opened, right? The way we do this at our agency is we like to look at the reply rate. We don't look at the open rates, we look at the reply rate. So literally open rates are blank, but the reply rate, if the reply rate is 1% or over, 1 to 3% or over, that means we're delivering. If the reply rates are lower than 1%, that means we're not delivering. So that's how you should look at it. Don't look at the open rate, look at the reply rate. Because even if, and the theory behind this is, even if a prospect isn't interested in your services, you'll still hear back from them and say, hey, take me off your list, or I'm not interested, right? So highly suggest, do not track open rates. Not worth it. And okay, with that being said, these three are the best subject lines to use. Literally use any of these three and I guarantee you'll get 60% open rates. Literally it's like first name thoughts, first name against this, or first name X your name. Boom. Now you might be like, okay, well, Aryan, why did those three work? The reason is all three of them invoke curiosity in the prospect to open up the email, with the first two being an open-ended question. So literally it's like thoughts or against this. Someone's gonna read that, they'll be like, what do you mean thoughts? Like what? What is that? And they're gonna click on it, right? Again, you're just trying to invoke curiosity. Or like against this, they're gonna be like, what am I against? Like, am I against anything? No, I'm not against anything. Let me click on it, right? So it invokes curiosity and it opens up the email. Secondly, it has the person's name in it, making it seem personalized to every single person you're sending out to. If you have read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, you'll know that one of the biggest golden nuggets out of that book, and this is simple even in sales, is mention people's names. People love hearing their name. They love hearing their name, right? All people, like deep down, people are very, very selfish. They're going to care about themselves first, right? So when you can mention someone's name and kind of intrigue them and be like, make it sound like it's personalized to them, they're going to be like, okay, well, I mean, this is for me, right? This is simple. Like if you go meet somebody new and you remember their name, they'll like you more because you remembered an important part of them, which is their name. They love hearing their name. They love seeing their name even, and it works out super well. Finally, the prospect thinks it could literally be about anything. It does not come off as salesy at all. Kind of going back to the thing I was saying earlier, where, again, like you are not selling to them, right? If it says something like more leads, Lisa, you want more leads, they know off the bat, they're like, okay, this is a marketing email, I don't want to open this, right? But if you're like against this, or thoughts, or Aryan X Lisa, they'll be like, what does that even mean? Like, I'm curious, like, what? And they'll open up the email. Bonus tip is keep everything except the names and the subject lines lowercase. For some reason, I don't know why, but it increases open rates even more. I'm not sure why, but just do it, it works. Like literally you'll notice, like I have lowercase thoughts, lowercase against this, but the first name will be capitalized. Again, not sure why, but it just works, so use that. Now, some of you, if you've been in the cold email game for a while, you might be like, okay, well, what about quick question, all right? I heard quick question works really well for cold email. The answer is yes and no. If you've been in the cold email space for a while, again, you know quick question was like a go-to one for years, but after being used by literally everyone, the effectiveness of it has gone down because it's been seen over and over again. My take is, for industries that don't get a lot of cold emails, like maybe manufacturing, nonprofits, insurance agencies, yada, 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 or like just industries that don't get emailed a lot, quick question can work, but there's better options like the one I mentioned above. But for industries like e-com brands, B2B SaaS, agencies, whatever, maybe literally do not use quick question. You're going to be in a sea of clones, all right? Don't use that. So that is it when it comes to subject lines. Now, when it comes to how to turn your positive cold email responses to book meetings, here's the full-on workflow for this, right? Once you've implemented everything above and you start sending out cold emails, you should start to get positive responses. Now, the next issue or constraint that you run into is that your prospects are busy, and even if they expressed interest in your service or product, a lot of them will ghost you after you reply, right? So here's what it usually takes to book a meeting from cold email, right? So let's say you start a cold email campaign, you send them out an email, somebody respond back saying, hey, Ariane, I'm interested, or hey, Chris or John, I'm interested, right? Can you send me more information? And you send them the information. Then you don't hear back anything from them. So you're like, fuck, okay. So what do? Well, you follow up with them once. Maybe you don't hear anything back, maybe you do, and you book them. Follow up with them twice. Maybe you don't hear anything back, maybe you do, and then you book the meeting, right? So that's literally the entire workflow from sending the first email to meeting booked when it comes to that, right? Now, what I'm going to go over in this part of the section is why this happens and how you can actually turn those positive responses into booked calls. So again, picture this. Let's say you're the marketing manager of a health and wellness company of 50 employees. You show up to work every day, you're trying to build brand awareness for your team using paid ads and content. The CEO asks that you find creative ways to bring new patients to your clinics. You try different funnels, you try different creative for your ads, but no avail. You also have a wife and kids. One of your kids is getting bad grades in school, so you're also worried about how you're going to sort him out, right? Do you see how many things are going on in that guy's brain? Right? Like there's so much stuff going on. They have like a million things going on from their jobs, their family life, their personal life. So this is why even if someone replies positively to your cold email, they'll end up ghosting you. Because of this, you must follow up with your prospects until you book them in for a call, right? I'm not talking about like just cold, but once they respond that, hey, they're interested, literally follow up with them until the end of time or until they tell you to fuck off, like literally. So here's what you're not send. Again, we're using inverted thinking, Charlie Munger stuff. Don't just send, hey, I'm just following up here, John, or hey, I'm just bumping this up, right? This sounds like extremely automated and boring because the prospect can easily tell that you're being lazy or it's just automated, right? It's kind of like you're sending the same birthday card for all your friends' birthdays. It's not special. Like, let's say you have a group of 10 friends, and for every single friend's birthday, you're just giving them the same fucking card. Like, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? This guy does not care about us. It's like he's just sending the same stuff to everybody. Like, he doesn't care, right? And so this is a SpongeBob meme I like. So don't send any of these either. Again, same thing. Like it's the same thing as well. Don't just send like, hey, I'm just circling back here, or hey, name any thoughts. Again, these all sound automated and boring, especially if you consistently send this every single time. So what I mean is, I actually like to use thoughts sometimes, but that's like in the third or fourth follow-up after I've sent more information, right? But if you only send like thoughts, like they're gonna be like, okay, this is fucking automated, I'm not responding to this, right? You sound lazy and you overall actually lower your status to the prospect when you send things like this. Don't do this, right? Because you have to understand that sales and marketing is a status game, right? You ideally want to have higher status than the prospect, at least in related to your offer, because for them to buy from you, they have to see that, okay, you have something that they don't and they want to buy from you, right? So if you're saying the same thing over and over again, you just sound sleazy. Like you sound like slimy. You sound like you just sound lower status because you're like, okay, this guy's sending the same stuff. He doesn't care about it, right? You're like the telemarketer who consistently calls your phone and asks, hey, do you have time to talk about our special offer? I'm sure you guys get these calls all the time. And you're just like, okay, I don't care about this, right? Now, with that being said, here's what to send, and here's the 5 types of follow-ups we send our agency interchangeably, right? So we send Loom videos, we send case study breakdown, either text or PDF. We send pattern interrupts. We ask if there's someone else to reach out to, or we send relevance-based follow-ups. I'll get into all 5 of these here. So for Loom, you can take 2 approaches when it comes to Loom, right? Either record a Loom that breaks down a case study of one of your current clients, or the ones that's most similar to the prospect, or record a Loom of yourself talking about how you help them achieve your end result using your service as a product, right? So for example, hey Name, I recorded a 3-minute video breaking down how we helped this company achieve X result. Can I send it here? Or hey Name, I made a 3-minute video breaking down how we'd help you save 20 to 40 hours a month on your clinic operations using our software. Can I send it here, right? So either leverage a case study or just leverage like, okay, I want more in-depth and detail on how you can achieve end result and offer. That's how you send a Loom. Now, when it comes to a video, or when it comes to case study breakdown, for this, you can just send a simple overview of a case study that's similar to them. Again, leverage social proof. Make sure you include the context of who the company was, the before and after, and a simple CTA asking if they'd be open to hearing how you can help them do the same, right? So for example, hey name, I just wanted to break down our case study with this name, with this company. This company were struggling with this company is in this industry, you're struggling with this. Since working with us, we've helped them achieve that. Would you be open to hearing how we can do the same for you? Alternatively, you can, if you have a PDF, you can also send that PDF as well as CTA, right? So again, just make sure it's easily digestible for the prospect and isn't too long, right? So here's how you switch out that CTA at the end. I have a PDF that breaks down how we help this company achieve our result. Can I share it with you here? Boom, just like that, right? Pattern interrupts. I love sending these, right? Here you just want to catch their attention with something they usually never see, right? You can add humor by sending memes, make it random, send emojis, or just talk about your day. So, for example, hey name, as I was drinking my morning coffee today, I accidentally spilled it on my keyboard, and while cleaning the keys, it led me to your email. Just wanted to see if now is a better time to discuss your offer. So it's super random, right? Because they've never heard anything like this before, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, how do you even come up with shit like this? And it works out super well. Or you can just send emojis. Like, look at this. We just sent an inspector emoji. Shout out to Christian from Client Attention for this. And this guy replied back saying, hey, can you send over the document you reference? Boom. The whole point is just to be different than anything else to get in your inbox and just catch their attention. Now, relevance-based follow-ups. What does this mean? For this, simply go to the prospect's LinkedIn or company LinkedIn and browse their feed and use what they've been recently talked about in your email copy. So it could literally be like something like, hey, I saw your post on LinkedIn on why the hiring process is critical to scaling a company. You brought up some great points in that post. Just wanted to touch base here. I just wanted to see if now is a better time to discuss your offer. Again, you're leading with and this works because you're pretty much saying, okay, Mr. Prospect, I've done my research on you. I know what you're kind of doing right now, and I like that. But yeah, man, I just want to touch base and see how things are going, right? Or if they got recently funded, hey, congratulations on recently acquiring Series A funding for X company. I'm excited to see how far you guys go. Wanted to reach out and see if booking 5 to 10 qualified calls a month is still a priority for you guys. And again, all you're doing here is you're just kind of nudging the prospect and you're telling them, hey, I see what you're posting on LinkedIn or even social media. Although be kind of, I'll get into more of that later. But all you're doing here is you're just saying, hey, I see what you're doing online, and I like that. By the way, would now be a better time to discuss blah 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 blah. Right now, you can also use Facebook, you can also use Instagram, but again, just be kind of, I guess what's the word? Careful. Be kind of careful with what kind of information you're putting out. For example, you don't want to just say like, hey, I saw how your son just got a black belt in Taekwondo. Some prospects might be like, what the fuck? Why do you say that, right? But others might be like, okay, well, that's cool. Like, I'll be fine, right? Kind of keep it at a company level and kind of keep it at their LinkedIn level. With social media, you can use it, but again, if it's related to their companies or maybe a place they traveled, it might be better. But again, just there's like a gray area, and it's up to you kind of to see what gray area would work best for your ideal customers, right? You have to also think, who is your ICP? Are they an older crowd? Are they a younger crowd? And get in their minds, if they got an email like that or a response like that, what would they think, right? One important note here is you want to send a LinkedIn connection request as soon as you get a positive email reply, because it literally boosts your chances of booking a meeting. So shout out to Ryan Bryden for this tip. But pretty much if your prospects are on LinkedIn, once they get a positive response, literally just reply back and then send a connection request on LinkedIn. What this will do is it'll put a face to the email, and people will be like, oh, this is the guy that emailed me. Oh, I mean, this is what he does. Oh, okay. Especially if your LinkedIn is good and you have like content on there that like highlights your case studies and proof, this works out super well, because literally like people will be like, oh, I've seen this guy. He sent me an email. Let me accept this stuff. And they might respond back. So works super well. Reaching out to someone. This is someone else. This is usually our last resort. And we're pretty much just asking if there's someone else at the company you can contact, right? Hey, name, I've reached out to you a few times. We haven't been able to connect. Is there anybody else at your company who might be better suited to discuss offer? Again, last resort, but sometimes you'd be surprised. Like, people would literally be like, oh yeah, I'm not really usually the person that handles this. It's actually Mike, and they'll give you Mike's email, right? So again, last resort, but it works. Like I mentioned, follow up until the end of time. Your prospects are busy with work and life, so they're often hard to reach. That's why if they've expressed interested in your services or product even once, you have to follow up with them until the end of time. Again, you can send multiple different variations of the methods that I talked about above, literally hundreds of times. You can even automate the entire process, and I'll show you how. This is the Pablo Escobar meme. One important thing here is what we like to do at our agency is we like to use a mix of phone call, LinkedIn, and email, right? Primarily email and phone call. So let's say somebody responds positively. We send them a response back. If they don't get back to us, we send them another email. And by that point, if they still haven't responded to us, what we'll do is we'll call them, right? We'll call them and say, hey, did you get our email? And that usually works out. So if one channel doesn't work, try other channels as well. That's a major tip I can give you, but either way, just follow up until the end of time. Now, when it comes to automating the follow-ups, here's how you do that. Instead of Smart Lead, you can tag leads as a certain type of reply. So for example, if a lead is out of office, you can tag them as so. In our case, we're going to use this to our advantage and tag positive responses with something different. Go on the setting tabs on Smart Lead and click on add, an ad and click on lead categories. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little confused. But basically add a new category. Then once you're here, you're going to add a new category and you can name it whatever you want. For context, here's what we went with. We just went positive response and we named it red, right? Now once you've done that, you're going to go to the campaigns and click on the ones you want to try this for. Once you're here, you can add a new subsequence and go with the settings below. So like if a lead is marked as positive response but didn't reply, you're going to add them to a subsequence after 1 day. So you'll be using that tag again you created in the second column. But pretty much if a lead is marked as this tag, they'll be enrolled in a subsequence where you send them all of the follow-up emails automatically as if they were part of another campaign. This is super powerful because this will help you streamline the follow-ups and you don't have to sit there and manually do it, right? Once you've inputted the settings above, you can start adding all of the follow-up emails in this sentence. Here's like the cadence we use at our agency. So the first follow-up is 2 days, or like 1 day. Second follow-up is 3 days. Third follow-up is 5 days, and the fourth is like in between 7 to 10. Again, remember to use a mix of everything above, and you can quite literally follow up until the end of time. One important note is since it is automated, you can't really use relevance follow-ups. However, I recommend using this manually. So what I mean is, let's say the first they respond positive to your email, you send them a positive response email back, you didn't hear back. And the second email, before you enroll them in a subsequence, you can then add a relevance response, or relevance type of email, send them the stuff on LinkedIn, social media, whatever it may be, and then if they don't respond to that, then you can enroll them in a subsequence. But yeah, that's what I recommend when it comes to subsequences. One important distinction, and I didn't mention this in the document, so I added this later, is that follow-up cadence above, like this one, is these like follow-up cadences is only for leads who have replied positively. So anybody who's replied positively, follow up until the end of time. But anybody who has not even replied at all, you don't want to send more than 2-3 follow-ups in a regular campaign to cold prospects. Think about it, right? If someone has not replied to 3 emails you send them, do you think they'll reply to your 4th? Most likely no. And this was the issue we ran into when our sequences were like 4, 5, 6 follow-ups across the span of 2 months or a month, right? People literally started marking us as spam and our email accounts got burned. So it's very important that you only send 2 to 3 follow-ups total, like when it comes to cold prospects. Below is a typical follow-up cadence we set at our agency, right? Email 1 is the typical email with the offer, case study CTA. Email 2 is expanding on the offer, maybe use other case study in CTA. And then email 3 is just asking if there's someone else better suited on their team or like a full case study breakdown. Again, this is the one for cold leads who have not even replied to at all. That's literally it. We use this format all the time and I highly suggest you do this as well. So summarizing the steps for follow-ups, your prospects are busy, so they might ghost you if they reply positively to your message. The answer to solving this is to enroll them in a subsequence that follows up with them forever. You can quite literally follow up until they book a meeting or they tell you to fuck off, right? If you're not following up, you are leaving money on the table from a prospect that could have turned into a paying customer. Again, only do this if they reply positively to your email. If not, just stick to 2 to 3 follow-ups. Again, highly emphasize that. Now, here's how to personalize cold emails and actually get replies. Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty AI stuff that I love talking about. So here's how you do that, right? So why personalize your cold emails? I've said this multiple times in this document, but again, you must understand, and I'm going to keep repeating this, You're literally a complete stranger to your prospects when you send cold emails. That's obviously the reason why it's called cold, right? So if you can get one foot in the door with something relevant and it's essential, and essentially have like an icebreaker, the prospect will trust you even more and be more inclined to reply to you, right? It also shows you're not just some automated cold emailer, and you're actually taking the time out of your day to research your prospects and send a thoughtful email. The issue is that you obviously don't have the time to sit there and manually personalize every single email if you have like a 3,000 lead list, 3,000 thing lead list. So, but at the same time, you also realize the importance of doing so. And this is exactly what we're going to be solving in this part of the document, right? Now, let me get into first bad personalization versus good personalization, right? You see, even if you personalize a cold email, it won't always be effective. For example, in my opinion, here's like a badly personalized cold email. Hey name, I saw you went to Notre Dame. Go Leprechauns. While this might make the prospect open up, they ultimately don't care since it's not relevant to their business, right? How is the college that they went to relevant to their business or any problems that they face at all, unless it is like your offers related to that, right? Stay away from these types of personalization, as in my opinion, it just doesn't work, right? Instead, what you should do is have a relevance-based personalization. So here's an example of a relevance personalization that will work, right? Hey name, as the job title, how are you currently trying to address pain point? Kind of going back to what I said above. Why does this work? Well, it's really relevant to their job and what they deal with their day-to-day stuff in business. On top of this, it shows that you actually did the research and you didn't just send the automated email, right? So the two ways you can personalize emails are mass personalization and AI personalization. Let's get into both, right? For mass personalization, we'll just use the pain points or issues that they face at a certain job title. For AI personalization, we'll be leveraging Clay and GPT to make a hyper-relevant email. If I had to pick one, like literally only one, I'd go with Clay because you can get super specific with things like scraping LinkedIn posts, company descriptions, etc., etc. But if you're just starting cold emails and you don't want to get too tech heavy with the AI stuff, I just recommend the mass personalization. And here's how it goes about it, right? Mass personalization, easier to do, but slightly less effective. AI personalization, harder to do, but much more effective if done right. So with mass personalization, it's all about connecting with the prospect by focusing on the common problems they face because of their job title or industry. So for example, as the VP of sales at Salesforce, I'm sure you're always looking for new ways to book qualified meetings on your calendar, right? You see how you can broadly use this for practically all VP of sales companies? Like any industry you can use that for, right? This is a pain point that they all face, and most likely in their day-to-day, you can find these pain points by doing market research. Here's how. Again, we're going to use the same GPT prompt that I used above, and pretty much ask it to put yourself in the shoes of any job title at any industry. What keeps you up at night on the service or product of the sales side of your business that you'd hire an agency or outside vendor to come fix for you? This is very important and key because this literally, like ChatGPT will get into their mind and they'll be like, okay, I am a CEO of a real estate company. What are some things that keeps me up at night that I could hire someone for, right? So it's super well. Next, what we're going to do is turn all these pain points into questions for our emails. Simply ask GPT. It's going to give you a list of pain points, and all you're going to do is ask GPT to turn the pain points into engaging questions, right? So literally be like, now turn these pain points into engaging questions, right? Ineffective lead generation. Are you struggling to consistently generate high quality leads in the competitive real estate market? Is your real estate brand getting lost in the crowd and then making it difficult to attract new clients? Do you feel like your digital marketing efforts are falling behind? Yada yada yada. You get my point. But these do sound a bit automated, so you can ask GPT to give you variations of specific ones until you find ones that stick, right? So just literally go in there and prompt it, be like, okay, give me variations of number one, but make it sound a little more human, 7th grade reading level, yada yada yada, right? And it'll come up with something like this. Are you having trouble getting good leads out of a tough real estate market? Struggling to find the right leads in the crowded real estate market? Again, it's kind of automated, but GPT will take you 80% of the way there. You'll just have to use the other 20%, right? For me personally, I like number 3 the best, so let's just go. Here's how I'd use number 3, right? Hey, name, as the CEO of the real estate company, are you struggling to find the right leads in the crowded market? This entire point here is to just poke the bear and get a response out of your prospect. Again, this is not really the best. It can be slightly improved, but pretty much you want to find one that's like sounds decently automated or decently human, but at the same time you're hitting the pain point, right? And the entire point is to just poke the bear and get a response, right? They're probably feeling this pain. You want to just come in and sympathize with them, making it seem like you understand what exactly they're going through, right? With AI personalization, it's so powerful because just imagine a world where you can reach out to thousands of prospects every single day and make it seem like you personally hand wrote every single email. And this is absolutely possible with Clay and GPT. Let me show you how this works. So with Clay, right? What exactly is Clay? Clay is a prospecting tool that helps you create lead lists and write copy by connecting with other softwares. You can pull data from companies' websites, their LinkedIn profile, hiring posts, and so much more. And this is how you create a really relevant cold email at scale. And I'll show you examples of how you can use this to show you the power of Clay, right? So first one, calling out the competition. Now, this is like, if you're targeting local businesses, I highly recommend use this. We've used this to literally book over like 500 meetings alone with just this strategy, right? What you want to do is you want to scrape local businesses with a tool like Outscraper, verify the lead list, and then import it into Clay, right? Once you've imported it, you want to leave the website and the address column in the table, among other things, right? Then, using ClayGent, you can prompt it to search for its competitors. Here's a prompt, right? Pretty much say, hey, using this company's website and their address, find me their competitors in your area. Since we're looking for competitors, here's what it is. Just steal this prompt. It should now output you 2 competitors of that business, and here's how you can use this data in your email. Hey, name, it looks like competitor 1 and competitor 2 are the top choices for whatever industry, for top choices for dental clinics in your area. We can help you beat your competition and make you the leading dental clinic in your city using our patient acquisition funnel. Interested in learning how? And this works super well because you have to think, when you're a local business owner, you know your local competition down the street, you know your local dental clinic down the street, right? So if someone comes to you and says, hey, we can help you beat your competition, it'll work out super well. And also, depending on other industries, it can work out. If let's say you're targeting industries where it's a SaaS and they have a lot of competition, again, this works out super well. So any industry, but specifically for local businesses, this works super well. But any industry where like there's like it's quote unquote saturated, you can use this to help them beat out the competition, right? And here's an example, right? Hey, good morning, Life Care. Care Partners Foundation and Palm Gardens are at the top. I believe this is physical therapy clinics in the area. We can establish you as a leading physical therapy clinic in your city and help you beat your competition. Would you be open to learning how this works? This guy said, yes, I'm interested. Please let me know if you can help with that, right? Again, super well if you're targeting, this works super well if you're targeting local businesses. I highly recommend use this, and if you go after local businesses, it works super well. And again, the reason this works is because it's the threat of local competitors in your area. So if you directly call out in the email and mention how you can beat them, works out super well, right? Also, PS, and the first actual thing I'm gonna kind of tell you here is, if you want this plug and play workflow where it's literally you don't have to do anything, you just upload the lead list into Clay. I have it right here, and if you want access to this document, click the link below, join my school community. You'll even get access to this entire document that I have here, as well as all the other AI workflows that I'm going to go over in this video. So if you want access, join the school community, and I'll give it to you for free. The next thing is calling out reviews. You can also leverage Google reviews using Clay. So here's how. You're going to use Clay's Google integration to find the reviews, right? Simply input the website that you pull from Outscraper and let it run. And once it's run, you want to use the find business reviews information thing. But once it's run, it'll look something like this, right? Now, you should now add the rating and the amount of reviews as a column, and because we're going to use this later. So it's going to give you okay, this is a 5-star rating, there's been 17 reviews, right? So how you can use this is simply mention the amount of reviews that they have and what their actual rating is. So for example, hey name, I found you on Google and saw that you had a 4.9 star rating. Congratulations on that. In my opinion though, this isn't the most relevant personalization unless your offer is something related to Google My Business, ratings, SEO, etc. right? However, you can still use this type of personalization in the PS line. Let me explain why. So I know I mentioned above that, okay, you don't want to use the college type of personalization, but what we found, at least in the first line, but what we found is this actually still works in the PS line, right? If the personalization isn't entirely relevant to your offer, you can still use it by putting it in the PS line. Why? Because it shows that you at least added an extra touch of information and at least did some research and had more effort, right? Plus, by putting the personalization in the PS line, it removes extra fluff and the prospect can just read and understand your offer, right? You have to think what is the anatomy of a cold email? The first line, offer, case study, CTA, right? Let's say that's the anatomy. If the first line is personalization and it's not relevant to your offer, the prospect will go from, hey, go Notre Dame or go Leprechauns. Do you want more calls booked? right? There's not like a strict chain and line. Like there's not a direct line, right? What you want to do instead is have the first line with the pain related to the offer, case study, CTA, and the PS line as like a cherry on top. Just add the personalization, right? So a weak personalization can still work. Let me explain to you how. So for example, hey John, I saw that you had a 4.5-star rating on Google. Congratulations on the hard work you guys do. We can help you do offer. Recently we helped this company do this. Would you be interested in doing something else, right? So the PS line version of this is, hey John, I'll get right into it. We can help you get this offer using mechanism. Recently we helped this company do this. Would you be interested in doing something similar? PS, congrats on a 4.9-star review on Google, right? Again, this works super well because you're cutting out the fluff in the beginning and just putting it in the end. And again, the prospect will appreciate the little touch. Now, coming up with ideas, right? Using the mass personalization pain point, we're going to tailor this part of the script to their pains, right? And I believe this should have been earlier, but again, we'll just roll with it. So for example, here's some pain logistics SaaS companies face when it comes to their marketing, right? Demonstrating complex solutions, differentiating in a competitive market, building credibility and trust. Now, all you have to do is pick one of these pains, ideally the first one, and put it into clay, right? So this works super well if, again, you have some type of like content offer, right? So all you have to do is be like, hey, create 2 high authority video ideas. And this works well with SEO too, because they're pitching articles and content, or even LinkedIn as well. But it's like, hey, create 2 high authority video ideas based off of this company. This should be video ideas that either help the company differentiate in a competitive market or build brand awareness and trust, and just steal the script. And then here's some video ideas it gave us, right? I believe we were targeting, I forgot who exactly here, but pretty much it gave us, hey, logistics SaaS, fleet management simplified, unboxing 2, supplier diversity success stories, sustainable style journey, right? And now what you're going to do with these video ideas is, since they're personalized for every single company, you can use them in email to make it sound like we just came up with them just for them, right? So it's like, hey, name, I was on a website the other day, but I had some difficulty understanding some of the technical stuff. I fear other buyers might have the same experience. To combat this, here's some video ideas for you. Boom, 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 boom. And all these are specific, personalized, and tailored, right? Again, just sharing that without knowing too much about your content strategy, but thought you might find interesting. Would you be interested in the free content blueprint that I helped create for you to implement this? Super well, right? The next thing that we're going to go over, actually, I'll go back to this. Again, this works super well if you have a video offer, any type of content offer, with LinkedIn or video or articles, whatever it may be. This works super well. You're literally just pitching video ideas to them. Another thing, you can call out testimonials on their website, right? So what we did was we uploaded the lead list into Clay. We normalized the company name. Then what we did is we wrote a simple prompt to ClayGent, which is like their AI native researcher, to see if they had any customer testimonials or reviews, right? If they don't have any customer testimonial and reviews, we're pitching videos, but listen to this, right? If they don't have any, we simply wanted to output good, and if they did, we simply output bad, right? Why? Because this helps us dial down the list even more, because and get very specific with targeting. So pretty much what we were doing here is we were reaching out to, I forgot what type of companies, let's say like law firms who didn't have video testimonials on their website, pitching our video testimonials, right? So let's say we had an entire 2,000 law firm lead list. We asked Clayton to go to the website and look at if they had videos or not. If they did, that's good. Or if they didn't, that's good. And if they didn't, that's bad, right? In our email itself, we're going to mention that we noticed that testimonials on their website, but no videos to showcase to them. From there, we can get into our pitch and say that we can help them shoot testimonial videos, right? So if they have like testimonials on the website but no videos, that's good. If they don't have testimonials on the website, then that's bad, right? So for those who don't have testimonial videos, we're only reaching out to them, and that's how you write truly relevant emails. These are like, when you get down to the nitty gritty like this makes your email stand out amongst everything else, because people are like, wow, I don't have testimonials on our website, but this guy's saying like clearly like he can help us, so let me listen to him, right? Now, mentioning the testimonials. Here's the prompt that we use. I'm not going to read it, but here's the prompt that we use again. And again, I'll just let you guys go for it. And then, so all we're doing is it'll output us something like this. Saw that you guys delivered amazing results for a Fortune 50 company with 1,000 laptop rentals. I don't even know what company this is, but Once we have that, what we're going to do is we use this in email. Hey, Name, I saw that you guys delivered amazing results for a Fortune 50 company with 1,000 laptop rentals. We can turn your best testimonials like these into engaging customers' testimonial videos to show off your product and build trust with future customers. Here's a case study. Here's a CTA. Boom. Just like that, you have a fucking super relevant email because they don't have a testimonial video for this for what we're offering, right? Again, Clay is so powerful and I love it, right? So I hope after you've seen this, I sparked some ideas on how powerful this tool can be. These are just 2 examples and just a couple ways on how you can make your emails relevant and more personalized with Clay. So if you want to watch a more in-depth video, I highly suggest just look up RNRL Clay, and it has a much more in-depth video on how to use Clay. These are just scratching the surface, tip of the iceberg type of stuff that you can use. So yeah. So to summarize here, don't just use generic, saw you wanted this type of school personalization. Make sure it's relevant to the person you're reaching out to, whether that be calling out a pain point, competitor, or anything else. Highly recommend you do some type of relevance personalization, as your emails will come across as genuine and make you seem like you actually understand the prospect. And as a bonus, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have 5, as we're closing out this copywriting section, I have 5 free cold email scripts to help you book 10 to 20 calls a month instantly. Like literally, these are plug and play. And if you want these scripts, again, inside of my school community, where you also get access to this entire document. So if you want this, go check out my school community. It's all there. And one last thing before we use these scripts, by the way, make sure your targeting and offer and deliverability is good. Also try to learn, because I do have in a document, why these templates work, right? Because over time, templates and like that type of stuff get a bit saturated, but if you learn the fundamentals of why they work in the first place, you can come up with your own scripts, right? For now, just use these templates and go ahead and book yourself some meetings. Now, we're gonna get more into the copywriting stuff with AI, right? So you see, in 2025, cold emails have gotten a bit more saturated compared to 2023, 2024. Anybody can spin up 20 domains with 40 email accounts and use Hermosi's $100 million offers formula to blast out emails. And because of this, your ideal customers are literally getting sick and tired of cold emails since they've now heard and been emailed the same thing over and over and over again. But there is a way to stand out amongst the entire crowd, and like emails, like you personally hand wrote it for thousands of people using Clay, right? Again, there are multiple ways that you can use Clay besides just personalizing the email. You can use trigger events so that you reach out to companies when they get funded, or if they're hiring for certain roles. You can score leads to make sure you only reach out to companies who are a good fit. Literally, like the possibilities of Clay are fucking endless. I'm just going to go over a few ways you can use Clay to get your ideas flowing. Some of these use cases might not fit you exactly, but you'll need to think outside the box for them to work for your product or service. So again, this might not be a direct fit for you, but who knows, it could help out. So lead scoring, right? So have you ever spun up a lead list and reached out to them and found out that half the people on the lead list were not even in your ICP? Clay can help you solve this by scoring prospects and giving them a rating on how likely they are to be your ideal customers. This can come super handy because it'll allow you to specifically only work with certain types of companies, and here's how you do this. So rating leads, right? To give you an example, there's no filter on Apollo to target real estate development companies. There's only industries like real estate, commercial real estate, construction, right? We can use the scoring feature on Clay to specifically only reach out to developers, right? So once you've uploaded the lead list, you basically you essentially wanted to rate the lead list, and you want to use whatever criteria you're using, whether that be website, LinkedIn, or company description, right? So here's an example, right? Let's say you did a broad real estate campaign, but you really want to go after developers. You might get something like this. But if you use a Clay lead scoring for real estate, you might get something like this. Again, dial down the targeting. Sniper campaigns will work super well once you know exactly who you're going after. So how do you actually do this, right? Pretty much you want to use this prompt. I believe I got this from Ryan Bryden too, so shout out to him. But you want to use this prompt, and you want to be like, hey, use this domain for this company and give me the rating from 1 to 10 on how closely the company fits the description. For this case, it's a SaaS company that works in the healthcare section, or healthcare or energy section in NA, or in North America. 10 means that it fit the description perfectly, and 1 means they're nowhere close to fitting this description. And here's an example that you'll get back. So you'll get like 10, 9, 8, 10, 10. For this lead list, we deleted all the ones that were 8 and below, or 7 and below, and then you're fine. That's literally all you have to do. Like, just ask it to rate it, and then once you've asked it to rate it, you can delete all the ones that aren't a good fit. Like, literally, this costs $2. if you use 4.0 mini or 5.0 mini. Like, it's so simple to do. It's an extra step that will save your deliverability, make your campaigns even better. So highly recommend you do this. Like I mentioned, the biggest use case here is getting hyper-specific with targeting, as you can filter out companies who have a score of 7 or higher, right? Databases like Apollo will have minor niches on their website, so you have to grab a lead list of a broader industry and filter it out this way. Like I said, if you're going after real estate developers, do real estate, do construction, do architecture, whatever, and then make it narrower by using Clay, right? Now, will the total amount of leads that you'll be reaching out to take a hit? Yes. But the amounts you do reach out to, the ones you do reach out to will be exactly in your ICP. Again, just use this, delete all the ones that are like 7 and below, and you are be in a great spot. Now, let's get into trigger events, right? Again, I'm just going to go through these fast just to show you the power of Clay. And again, these might not be specific to you at this point in time, but this should just get your mind rolling on, holy fuck, this is such a powerful tool. When it comes to leveraging trigger events, some services or products or companies, with some services or products, companies only need you when certain things happen. Like, let's say they get funded, they're hiring for a certain role, yada, 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 right? However, this is really hard to find on a databases, as the amount of companies that have these triggers are low. But there's a way to do this on Clay so that you can reach out to the most relevant companies. Here's how you do this, right? For this case, this is a very in-depth workflow, but again, I want to show you this because this works super well. For this use case, we'll be reaching out to real estate development companies in Miami who recently got approved for new developments. To find these companies, we're going to use a RSS feed. So a RSS feed is like a signal that lets you get updates from your favorite websites all in one place without having to visit each website. Usually these updates are like in forms of new podcasts, blogs, or articles that a website has published, right? Essentially, what you're going to do is you're going to go to a website that publishes news about your trigger event and pull the RSS feed to use in Clay, right? You want to ask GPT, where can I find articles or blogs about trigger events that also have RSS feeds? So where can I find articles or blogs about new real estate fundings that also have RSS feeds? That's all you have to do. Or like, where can I find articles or blogs about, let's say another one you could do is about recently funded fintech companies, right? Again, super well, or like new YC accepted companies, super well. So once you find a good website or article to pull from, you're going to use the rss.app to get the link. Again, use this and paste the section you want to pull the data from, right? So you're going to paste this, and this is one we use, which was Miami Real Estate Profile Miami. And then, for example, since I only want real estate development news, I'm only going to input the URL for development, nothing else. So you see how it has like different sections, like residential, commercial. We only want development, so we're going to use development. So get super specific on that. For you, it could be something different, but just input the section you need. And then, once you've done that, you will now get the link of the article, right? We now want ClayGen to go in there and find the companies mentioned in the article. So simply prompt it to do so. And here's like what it looks like at a high-level overview. Once you've done that, you can use ClayGen to find the domains of the companies that we can use, that we can find the email address of people that work there. So not to like confuse the fuck out of you, but pretty much all you want to do is you want to go here, you want to add enrichment in Clay, you're going to pull RSS feed, you're going to put the RSS feed link that you got from the RSS website, and it'll give you the link, right? And it'll give you like, okay, it'll give you this, and from there, once you have the link, you can pretty much be like, okay, go to this article. You can tell ClayGen, go to this article and find me the company name of the people mentioned in this article. Find me the companies who recently just got funded. The name and website would help. Or find me the companies that recently got funding for development. The name and website would help, right? And then just ask it for the website. Then what you want to do is use Clay's built-in feature of the find jobs function to find people to reach out to. So depending on what tools you have, this might take some Clay credits, but only so lightly, right? So for us, we're doing CMO, marketing manager, director of marketing, marketing director, yada, yada, yada. And then, I know this is super in-depth and detailed, but again, I'm using this to show you the power of this. Then once you finally have people to reach out to, you can use AI to summarize the article that they were featured in and use it as a personalization, right? You can play around with the prompt here, but here's like the example that we use, right? Hey, name, I just read an article on Profile Miami talking about PMG and Greybrook's impressive 178 refinancing for Society Wynwood. I actually ended up living close to that apartment, funny enough. Again, just mess around with the prompt to make it not sound cheesy or robotic, but I would say this is pretty decent output. Also, prompt the GPT to keep the personalization under a certain word or character threshold, because GPT can go a little overboard. Like I have it at 17 here, but if you have it at just whatever, it'll write like a whole fucking 40-word sentence, right? You want to make it seem like, again, you personally handwrote personalization, so keep it short and natural, right? So from some final thoughts here, again, in the world of cold email in 2025, it's more important than ever to be able to stand out from all the noise. Again, anybody can spin up and send out 1,000 emails a day using the same offer, and their prospects are tired of seeing the same offer over and over again, making it hard to book meetings. But this is a really good thing, as it means the best cold emails are the only ones booking the calls. So implement AI in your outreach using these use cases above and stand out in the prospect's inbox. Again, I know this was kind of like super in-depth and detailed, but this works super well, and once you start to get more advanced in the cold email, you'll eventually implement stuff like this. Alrighty, so now we're getting to the last major portion of this course, which is how to not land in spam, right? So you see, cold email is powerful because it lets you target and offer a solution to exactly your ideal customer's problems. But if your messages aren't even delivered properly, no one will see them, no matter how good the offer or targeting is. It's kind of like having like a lemonade stand in the desert. No one will buy it if no one's around, right? Pretty simple. So how do you make sure that you send out thousands of emails and not land in spam? This is what this part of the course will go over. So first, let me share, again, inverted thinking. Let me share some examples of cold emails that ended up in my spam filter, and I'll explain why, right? Everybody gets sent cold emails nowadays, and most of them are just horrible. Here's 3 emails that are awful, and here's how I'd go about fixing them to make them good, right? Again, I'm not here to bash anyone or like make fun of anyone. I'm just here to show you why if you send emails like this, you'll just end up in spam. So the whole point of this is to just learn what not to do. That way you have a successful campaign. So email number 1, right? Hey Aryan, I'm reaching out on behalf of blah, 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 to do blah, blah. Like, I'm not even going to read all this, but here's like some pointers, right? 196 words, it's too long. It asks for the call in the first email. It says, I think it says, would you be open to a brief 20-minute call? Yep. Subject line is okay, but you'd much rather have the other person's company or name in there. So strategic partnership with blah, blah, blah. See, they sent me this at 3 a.m. No, I'm not going to enter this email. I mean, that doesn't really go over landing in spam, but just funny note. Key challenges we help tackle is very dull. So like, what does all this mean, right? Like, what does that even mean? It's not even relevant to me. And then no case study or past track record of success is mentioned, or at the very least, no risk reversal is mentioned, right? So this whole email, like, this is insanely big, and it just has too much stuff in it. Ask for a call in the first email, what not to do. Subject line is decent, so I don't know why you're sending me this at 3 a.m. And then I don't even know what this, like, what exactly does that mean? That's a service. That's not an offer. And then again, no case study or past track record is mentioned. So here's how to go about fixing this, right? Hey Aryan, being in the industry of industrial work and CDLs, I'm sure you're always looking for new ways to handle new recruiting without bottlenecking your operations. Our tailored recruiting system can help you outsource your recruiting by letting us handle the hiring process, saving you time and a headache. We recently helped XYZ company hire 7 contractors, saving their hiring managers over 30 hours last month. Would you be open to seeing a quick resource on how we did it? So much better. Like, compare that to this. Like, just night and day difference, right? 76 words, short and sweet. We offer value up front before asking for a call with the resource. It talks about the direct benefit instead of the features that someone will get. Like, what's the benefit someone gets? Oh, we'll outsource the recruiting. We'll handle the hiring process. You'll save time and a headache, right? Subject line has the recipient's name so that they'll actually open it. Again, make sure your subject line is in lowercase like this. For some reason, it's a higher open rate percentages, only capitalize people's names, right? So overall, a lot better. That's how you take a spam email, turn it into a good email. There's another one, right? Email number 2. Good afternoon. Okay. It says Tasha, whatever. I know again, I'm not going to read all this, but just glance over it. But you'll see the subject line only has her name in it. It should include the prospect's name. It should include my name. Why is it your name? Like, who the hell are you? Respectfully. It only talks about features, and it does not talk about what I get from a visually striking website. So it says something like, hey, we help creating visually striking websites. Okay, what does that exactly mean? I know it sounds simple, like, oh yeah, but if you have a better website, you'll build trust and you'll have you'll have a better brand awareness or whatever, or brand. But you have to remember, again, you have to kind of like show them what a good website will do for them, right? Because when you're selling your services and you live and breathe, let's say websites, if you live and breathe website, you'll know that, okay, if other businesses get a better website, they'll be able to have a better brand, it'll get them more leads, it'll help them convert better, yada, yada, yada. But to somebody who doesn't live in that world, in that bubble that you're in, they're going to be like, okay, well, what does a visually striking website do for me? Like, how will this help me, right? You, as a person providing the services of web design, you live and breathe this stuff, so of course you immediately correlate it to more leads, more calls, and more money, right? But to someone who doesn't live in that bubble, they'll be like, what does that do for me? So exactly, what does a visually striking website do for me here, right? And then based off the CTA, she's acting like I'm already interested. She's like, to help us propose a cost-effective solution, kindly share your specific requirements. Bro, I haven't even told you if I'm interested or not, right? You should ask, and also you should ask for specific requirements over a call, not in the email. The whole purpose of an email is to book a call. There's no case study or previous ones with clients, no risk reversal. Again, it's just all over the place. It's just random. It makes no sense, right? So here's how I would take this email and basically do it better, right? Let me show you how. So, hey Arian, I respect your time, so I'll get right into it. We can help you convert 25% more traffic that ends up on your landing page and turn them into customers using our revamped acquisition funnel. I made a 3-minute Loom video breaking down some bottlenecks I saw on your website and how we'd fix it to convert more traffic. Mind if I share it with you here? So much better. So, good subject line, first of all. Has a quantifiable end result, although it might need a bit more tweaking. I don't know if 25% exactly is like the dot, but just bear with me in that example. CTA is a personalized Loom where you get to show them what's wrong with their website and how you go about fixing them. This allows you to show your expertise. Again, you might not have a case study, but this can still work. If you don't also want to use Loom, you can also say something like, would you be open to seeing our other landing pages we've made? Again, highlight your portfolio. And overall, a very short email, an easy email to say yes to. Just work on the offer here, like in terms of like the percentage, and you're good. Just like that, you're good. So again, we went from this being all over the place. This one was already pretty short, so not bad. But this all over the place to more precise and more concise, I guess you could say. Email number 3. I'm not going to read it, but it's way too long, 369 words. Links in the email like this will cause your email to go to spam. It sounds super automated, right? The whole point of cold email automation is to make it sound and look like you personally hand wrote it. This, on the other hand, looks like you sent it over 10,000 people right off the bat, right? Also, I wouldn't recommend using dear. Like, dear just sounds like, it just sounds automated and it just sounds weird, in my opinion. CTA is high friction. So if you see here, it's like something like, ready to take your plunge? Let's make your market on this roller to captivating Wikipedia page. Simply click on the link below. You guys have to kind of squint here. Simply click on the link below to learn more about our services and get started. It has a link, right? Again, you don't want to do this with a CTA. You want to make it an easy yes. Like, why should a prospect have to click on a different link to the website that they don't know about, right? Subject line just states your services. It doesn't make you curious. Boost your brand, Wikipedia writing and editing services. Again, like it just sounds automated, man. Like if you get this, you're gonna be like, ugh, like well, how many other people did you send this to? This doesn't sound really good. So don't want to do that. Here's how I fix this, right? Arian, quick question. Again, I used quick question here, but this is just cut me some slack. This one's a lot more shorter and concise. Hey Arian, as a online creator, I'm sure always looking for new ways to grow your brand and business. We can get you featured on Wikipedia to help you build trust and boost brand awareness for yourself and your company. We'd help you we'd help you research, craft, and create a thorough wiki page to help your brand and business stand out from all your competitors. Would you be open to learning more? Again, not bad, but a lot better than the other one. You know, a lot shorter, more concise. CTA is super easy for them to say yes to. It calls out a desire that the target market has, maybe a pain. No links in the email. Subject line is a lot better. It just invokes curiosity. Boom. So hopefully you're starting to see things to do and things not to do when it comes to landing a spam with cold email, right? So here's what you do, right? Most cold emails are bad, but they can be fixed by just keeping it short, not using links in the email, and just tailoring the copy to speak about how you can help the prospect rather than just speaking about how good your product is. Now that you've seen what not to do, here's more of a technical guide to avoid spam besides just copywriting. You want to obviously set up DNS records and warm up. If you use scaled mode or if you use premium inboxes, they'll do this for you. It's super easy. You also want to warm up your email accounts. Obviously, again, you don't want to immediately start sending out 30 messages a day as soon as you buy the email account. You want to warm it up for about 2 weeks before sending out, and then you want to copy don't copy, just this is for Google, but if you're on the Microsoft one, it's obviously above. But yeah, obviously warm up, right? Sticking to the technicalities, don't use images and links. If you're sending images and links, it'll be picked up by Google or Microsoft and they'll mark you as spam. Links also trigger spam filters, so don't add any in the email. This includes hyperlinks. Don't even hyperlink anything in the email, even in your signature, right? One important note here is I used to hyperlink my calendar in the signature all the time, and I would book some meetings from time to time to do this, right? But once I stopped hyperlinking my calendar like this, I noticed I got more replies and booked more calls. So take this information as you will and get rid of hyperlinks. Also, tip is enable sending emails in plain text. Or get rid of all links, all images in email, and only send a text. This will boost your deliverability and you'll avoid spam. This is like one of the biggest keys you can do for avoiding spam. So highly recommend this. Manage sending volume. So after you're done with this warm-up process, you should start off by sending around 20 emails a day. You then want to slowly ramp up to 25 to maybe 30 a day per account. This is mostly for Google, but follow the guidelines that I have with the scaled mail stuff. But if you start sending like over 30 a day, you'll seem suspicious and they'll just flag you as spam. The average email, because think about this, all you're trying to do with cold emails, specifically for Google, because I know majority of you use Google, but all you're trying to do with cold email is mimic human behavior, right? Think about it. Would an average human send over 30 emails in a day? Probably not, right? They'll probably send like 10 to 20 emails a day max. There's no way there's no way they're sending 40 in one day, right? So Google or Microsoft will look at you and be like, okay, is this guy actually mimicking human behavior? Is he acting like a human, or is it just automated, right? So if you're sending 30 emails a day per email account, you'll seem irregular and like a robot. So obviously you don't want to send that, right? Now, a major technical thing you want to do is also use spin tags. So you see, if you're sending the same email out to thousands of people every single day, again, you'll seem very suspicious to Google and Microsoft. To counter this, use spin tags, which lets you send different variations of the same text. So for example, instead of saying like hi, you can also say hi, hey, hello, good morning, right? Another tip you can use is you can use Smartly's time of day of function. So for example, Smartly time of day, and you can personalize the email depending on when it's sent, right? So for example, if you're sending in the morning, it'll say good morning name, good afternoon name, good evening name, yada yada yada. You're just saying the same thing in a different format, and this is how you want to do it, like curly brace brackets, right? For outros, you could use stuff like thank you, best regards, best, and cheers. You can even use it for subject line with like stuff like this, like John thoughts, John against this, John XRA. Obviously replace John with the first person's name using the first name variable like this. But here's what it looks like, right? So let's say Alec against this. Hey Alec, we can book you. Look at the difference here. It picked. So let's say we have this. It picked thoughts for the first, or against this for the first one, and then it said hey hello for the spin tags, right? You can even just take this a step further and just do it for random text and email itself. And I actually disagree here because I made this. I was putting together this guide here a while back, but I would say, and let me take this out because I really am a big believer in this, and I'm going to take this part out of the document, but hold up, let me see if I can delete this. Boom, so let me, and I really believe spin tags the entire email if you can, by just going to GPT, and I'm doing this with you live because I gotta update this part, by going to GPT and prompting it to do so. So again, highly recommend you actually spin tags the entire email. In here, I used to believe that, okay, maybe just the hello and the outro was good, but really, I recommend you spin tags the entire thing because it'll just make your emails just a lot more spam proof and make you not land in spam. So spin tags the entire email. All you have to do, copy the email prompt you have, paste it in GPT, and be like, okay, can you spin tags this email for smartly.ai, and can you make it so that it sounds very similar to the original and doesn't sound a bit, doesn't sound grammatically advanced, it keeps the same length, yada yada yada, and just boom, you should be good. So make sure you use spin tags, right? Another thing when it comes to spam is a lot of people, they don't have a relevant offer. So imagine you're sending an email to an HR person and you try pitching him your marketing services. Do you think he would care? Probably not. This is because your offer isn't relevant to his job title at all, and the same concept applies for industries. If your offer is to help construction companies reduce operational costs, but you use that to SaaS companies pitching this offer, you won't be relevant at all. In fact, this is land and spam. This is where precise targeting comes into play. Tailor your scripts to job titles and industries you're reaching out to. If you can do this, your offer and copy will resonate with your prospects even more, and you'll book meetings and you won't land and spam. We went over this before, but pretty much, so the databases you pull from the list might not always have the most accurate filtering. For example, the real estate industry, but you can use Clay to counteract this pretty much. Also, another bonus inside of my school community is a full-on 40-minute long video and document going over a bulletproof checklist to help you avoid spam. Go super in-depth in detail. If I could sit up here and talk about spam all day, but I don't want to make this video too long. As long as you knock out some of the stuff I spoke about, you'll be fine with the basics. But if you want the full-on guide, again, join my free school community. You can get access to that guide right there. So, final thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly how you can use cold email to book yourself 10 to 20 calls every single month. You can literally just take this document, apply everything step by step, and you can put qualified sales calls in your calendar within the next few weeks. But if you run into any issues regarding technical setup, lead list building, copywriting and offer creation, landing and spam, using AI to write relevant emails, or anything at all cold email related, feel free to join my school community. You'll get direct access to me. You can DM me and ask me questions and meet other like-minded cold emailers inside. And also, if you want the guides that I went over, whether that's the 5 free cold email scripts to help you book calls, or it's the bulletproof checklist to avoid spam, or this entire document in itself, click the link below, join my school community, and you'll get access to all of that. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I hope I delivered on my promise to provide you as much value as possible when it comes to cold email, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.